one, and then the boom can go back that way a little bit. No, that one.
You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey folks, welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast Thursday night live call-in show. We are here. We are ready. A little bit behind because we were in the middle of a game of Apiary. So we had to finish our scoring and put that thing away. Put it right back where it came from, or so help me. And we did. Mm-hmm. But who are we? Let's go around the table. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Wayne.
And we are a podcast about how we game. Thursday nights is all about how you game. On Thursday nights, we talk to you about what you've been up to and kind of... But we started off with a little primer, a little conversation about what we've been up to gaming-wise, and then we open up the phone lines to take your calls. I think we are still officially the only call-in board game show.
Only one I know of.
Call-in.
Yeah,
The only live call-in
the
board
best.
game show.
People dabble in it. I've seen other shows that do it here and there, but we are the only dedicated. Yeah,
Nobody else is stupid enough to do live.
Exactly.
call-ins.
Tom Vassell said that pretty specifically.
Hey, you've only had one true crank caller. And one that we're not sure of, right?
There was a few more along the
There's
line.
a few more.
That's been a long time,
They were
though.
probably
That's
pretty
been
early. Yeah, it's been a
long,
while.
long
Yeah,
time.
And now that you've said that,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's
jinxed us for tonight.
As long as I've been on the show or listening to the show, I recall the one hardcore crank caller with cursing and whatever.
Yes.
And then the one where we weren't quite sure if they were a crank caller or not.
Listen, you have an accent that southern. It can't be real.
I don't know. Have you been to Sobo?
Oh, hey.
Shots fired, Louisiana. Shots fired.
Absolutely.
Let's see. In the chat, we've got us and then Mike.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I like it like that.
The chat is going strong. It is a Thursday. It is the holidays. Like it's officially kind of still end
People are
of.
slacking.
Last day of November.
Yeah.
Today is
You
the last
take
day.
you take one day off for Thanksgiving and people just forget about it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We will still do what we do. And I think we'll start it off with talking a little bit about Apiary. I don't know if I'm ready to give it the beans. Like I'm not ready to give it the full beans.
Yeah.
Anybody else feel
Don't
that
know
way?
well enough yet? I mean, I could scrape it together, but yeah, I
guess.
one play was
Not enough to really give it the beans.
And I gave the beans based on one play the first time I played.
So
and
it's
then
been
I called
done.
in. Yeah.
Pretty accurate beans, by the way.
Yeah, I think it was pretty dead on. So yeah, go back and watch the show where Nick talked about it. And
Yeah.
I think for the most part we agree.
Actually, I think I made a full separate video.
Oh, did you?
Of
so it's
that.
out there.
When a caller calls in and gives the beans, you always do that. You're like, all right, hold on.
I want to turn that into content.
Yeah.
Which I think I did turn that into content,
You
but did it change? All right, so Apiary is a worker placement game set.
in space.
I don't know. Make it a bee and put it in space.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stegmeyer yelled, "Make it a bee and put it in space," and they did.
It's a good game. Like it's not a deny, right? I don't think anybody.
No.
I don't think everybody would say this is a deny. Like,
I don't think it'd be deny. No,
know,
I'd
and
say
it-
probably a try.
it's
but,
definitely a try, and I think if you depending on the price you pay, it's a buy. You know, it depends. It also depends on like I think it goes back to a lot of times we talk about like how big is our collection, right? Like so like.
I don't know.
We
Let me
all have-
pan around the room here. How big is it?
How big is it? We all have all of us have large board game collections. So is it going to be a game that replaces a game that I have in my collection already?
Is it going to be?
Is it gonna be
Oh.
a game? I know, right?
All night long.
All night long. And it might actually, because I don't know. I'm trying to think of my game collection. I don't know if I have a game that plays like this.
So I'll just harking back to when I did call in, because now this is my third play in a fairly short period of time, especially because getting repeat plays in for me sometimes is challenging. The thing that I liked the most about it then that I've actually gotten just used to, so it's less shiny, is the no blocking. It's a worker placement game with no actual blocking. I actively dislike that moment in worker placement games where you went somewhere and now I can't go. Viticulture is the big one. Like if you needed to hire a new recruit or a new worker and you can't now.
Yep.
Now that's what some people like about tight worker placement games is it's a race to that spot.
Yeah.
But I like that this is a worker placement game with no blocking, but instead there's the bumping mechanic. So if you beat me to the spot, the benefit to you is you get bumped and it's a little upgrade to your
And I'd say
worker.
it's almost even the opposite is in this game with the asymmetry with Rob's power. You wanted to bump Rob's character.
That bothered
wanted
me.
to bump
Of
his
course you
bees.
did. Except for Carlos. Carlos didn't want to.
Yeah. So it was like
No,
so-
because Wayne had already jumped on that bandwagon, the bump Rob
could've-
bandwagon.
You were the first player, so you're literally the first
could've
person to
done it.
return. You could have beaten us to that.
Yeah.
But so like just to go back, Nick, you like when you bump another person's B, they upgrade from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 as far as power. But Rob's character had a symmetry where we moved up a separate track. That every time his character moved another character, it bumped. So I liked it. Cause I love viticulture, but when someone blocks you in viticulture, like, okay, I gotta wait a whole another year before I get to that spot,
Right.
And then hopefully, I do the wake up order. I may have to choose an earlier wake up order than I want to because I need to get that worker placement spot that I know that everyone else wants.
Let's talk a little bit about that bumping piece, because I had a misconception of that bumping aspect. I thought it was going to be
You
more
thought
like
it was the bump and grind?
Oh,
ain't nothing wrong, nothing wrong with a little.
bump grind.
I thought it was going to be more Euphoria. The title, I think Jamie's first game, second game,
Viticulture and the
Viticulture
Euphoria came
and
out the same
Euphoria.
year.
I thought it was going to be more Euphoria-like in that when you bump the worker, the other player has immediate access to that worker.
Oh, yeah.
What I found is this game doesn't give you immediate access. So yes, it increases the value of the worker that got bumped. However, it doesn't give you immediate access to use that worker again. You still have to rest.
But in Euphoria, there's some randomness where that worker gets crazy, right? So
Well, he might become aware
Yeah.
of the forces that are
Conspiracy.
holding him, in the conspiracies that are holding him locked into his work, and then run away. To kind of throw what's that, the silo?
Oh,
Kinda-
such a good show.
Kind of become aware.
Did you watch it?
No, but I watched the spoilers on YouTube.
Oh, come on.
I ruined it.
So good, man.
Completely ruined it for myself. But I'm
Way to
okay
go.
with that.
Way to go.
So you talk about, I thought it was going to be the super friendly, you bump me, I get access to my worker immediately back. What was the other one? The Viking one, Robert? Shem Phillips? Raiders of the North Sea?
Yeah,
Raiders,
Raiders,
yeah,
yeah,
Raiders,
where
yep.
you bump and
You get the worker back and get to use it.
Yeah, Yep.
You still get them locked down into your landing pad, landing post, landing zone,
Right.
LZ, but you don't get to use them again until you rest. That bothered me a little bit because, like, dang, I still have to take a rest action. It doesn't negate me resting.
Though I do like what they've done. This is the second game I've seen do this. You're rewarded during the rest. A lot of times in games, the recover action is a pretty common thing, right? You take actions until you can't take actions anymore, and now there's a recovery, and that's my whole turn. You're picking up my hand. All of the what is it? East Road and Century games.
Oh,
all
yeah,
the
Century,
Century games, right? At some point, you play all the cards, and now your whole turn is recover your hand.
Yep.
And that's it.
I think that like probably my biggest complaint about Revive, which I know you really like, and I liked it. You
That
really
hibernation,
liked it.
yeah.
That hibernation round, like it got to the point where like 3 of the 4 was hibernated, and really it's just you pick up all your cards and do this, and that's
Right.
it. You don't get anything, and okay, and
Whereas here in Apiary, like in Dwellings of
Eldervale.
Eldervale, I always mix up Everdale with Eldervale. But
Elderberry?
Yes, we have Dwellings. When you recover your workers, they get to farm, and you get a little bit of income as part of
Yeah.
it. And depending on the farms you built, they can be different. You can create different engines there, which
Yep.
is neat. So it's not a lost turn, really.
All right, so it's about 10 minutes of not full give it to Beans, just kind of a quick conversation on our first play, us three.
Yeah.
Our first play of Apiary. Nick, your third play?
Third play.
Third play. You do own the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I got on with Mike, we were chatting before pre-show while y'all were putting away Apiary. I think my answer was, don't rush to play the game. Like it's, I don't know. What would you tell Mike with regards to Apiary? Someone who hasn't played it yet.
It's what I expected, right? Like I didn't expect it to be a game that blew me out of the water, but I didn't expect it to be disappointment. I expected it to be a solid game, and it is a very solid game. It was fun, and I think once you get through the teach, it's a fast game. Like it could be.
Yeah, I was a little worried, but then, and I'll say this, the timing of the game, playing it now a third time, I got the timing wrong this play, but I'm seeing it play out more. Just for folks at home to know, like, why Carlos is saying don't rush to it. And while we're all kind of giving this kind of like, maybe a 6 out of 10 or 6.5 out of 10.
7-ish?
Seven-ish.
Yeah, 6,
Is
7.
because I think the solid first half of the game, Carlos even said, like, is anyone excited? Like, are we having
I did say that.
Anybody jumping under a seat here?
Like, are we having fun? Are we just doing our turns? But that's the first half. The second half, you suddenly realize...
Wayne almost flipped the table.
Yeah. You suddenly realize, and here's the sneaky thing of the timing, it wasn't half the game. You're actually like 3/4 of the way through the game, and now it's about to race to the finish because everyone's going to start hibernating like 2 at a time, and it's like, whoa, there's only 4 spots left.
It's not a bell curve. It's more like
yeah, that ramp up caught me off guard. Yeah,
it ramped up pretty quick.
I definitely felt I needed.
I thought I had plenty more time
me
to
too.
plant my seed.
That's why I was getting mad.
You done
Plenty of that, plenty of
enough
that.
seed planting. So, Michael,
Mike, I got mad at myself.
That is an action, though.
it
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
You can
we
plant it.
basically figured that there was 2 turns left, and I needed to get 1 tile, and my dyslexic mind switched iconography, so I spent the whole term getting resources to buy a card that I didn't need. I actually traded away the resources I needed to get the 1 card I needed. So I was like, oh, I'm really, really mad at myself right now because I just screwed myself. But it ended up being 3 more turns.
Because
and I
of
was
the timing,
able to pull it out at the end. But it definitely ramps up real quick. It's kind of slow in the beginning, but that slow beginning plays quick, right? You're just doing really quick turns, and you could keep, rotating pretty quickly. I think we 4-player 90 minutes.
Yeah.
that's probably about right.
After
Yeah.
teach, about
After
90
teach,
minutes.
About 90 minutes. So
Wasn't bad.
There you go.
There you go, Mike. Did we sell it to you?
No.
There was a lot of.
we sold
it
it
wasn't
as a-
bad. It was okay.
Yeah, we sold it
But
as a
it-
solid
it-
7.
Yeah, it's been a game that I've wanted to play anyway.
Yeah.
I like Stonemeyer games for the most part. I mean, he's, in my opinion, I think he's produced a couple of stinkers, and I think he knows that. But this is the one that kind of like perked me up again. Like, oh, maybe this is one that I actually want to check out.
I think with the pricing of games today, like so many new games are coming out $75-$80, right? When you got this as a Stonemeyer champion, it was like 50.
50.
That's
Yeah.
a good price.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 50 initially, and now it's still like you can get it like 60ish. That's a decent price for games
Because
today.
this feels like the Ironclad version.
Right, the
Yeah.
$80
Like,
or something.
Production's nice.
Right,
Yeah, it's
production
really good
wise.
production, but yeah. So for the value is where it's like, okay, this is a solid game with great value for the price.
There you go.
Big board.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a table hog. I know Carlos mentioned that. He's like, why does it have to be so big as soon as it was laid out? So it gives you lots of space to do things,
Yep.
but it is a big board.
Yeah.
It's the classic 6-tile
Yeah,
board.
6 panels.
The
Yeah.
6-panel board.
But then on top of that, every player has an
Their own
8.5
board.
by 11
Which could be even bigger
board of
depending
their
on if
own.
Yeah,
if
which you can
grow
go
your
off
hive
of, yeah.
yeah.
Right.
I thought that was weird. that
Star
you
Trek
can, like,
Ascendancy
throw off of your
style.
board.
Yeah.
where you can kind of lay out your space tiles anywhere you want in any order you want.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been a little more critical about that lately. Knowing that I spent all this money on this game table to
Tabletop.
find that more and more games cannot fit on this table anymore.
Says the guy who wants Foundations of Rome and
Oh, yeah.
and Clash of
Clash of
Cultures out
and,
there.
Mosaic.
Carlos,
and
what's the width of your table?
It's a 6x3.
Okay.
It needs to be a little wider even. The
So
six
they
is
have
fine.
one more.
6x4 would be
It
nice.
probably
yeah.
needs to be a 4. Yeah.
Yeah, but you've done that. You've had that large table. It takes up a lot of room in most homes.
It wouldn't fit on the
Yeah,
roof of his
but
car,
I-
or he'd had it.
Yeah, I prefer square tables though. Like the one that I had was a 4x4,
Yeah.
which
That's
I
a good size.
personally prefer. I don't, and I mean that's just my preference. That's all. But
when I built my game table that we play Gloomhaven and Frosthaven on, I just kept it simple and said a sheet of plywood is 4x8. So
There you go.
it's a 4x8.
That's wargaming size.
That's
Yeah,
a big
it's
if we
4x8.
all
It's a
had
big-
that kind of space,
Well, here's the thing: is I don't really. I mean, Rob will tell you, he squeezes in and sits like on a bench
Up against the wall.
and just like this, one side of the table is up against the
Yeah.
the wall. So we only actually have 3 sides of the table exposed.
My game table is, I think, 3.5 by 5. It's like kind of so it's not quite 4, but that little extra width is where it. I know. Come on, dude.
Makes all the difference.
Not 10 o'clock yet.
It's not 10 o'clock
even
yet. This
close
guy's
to
already
10
been
o'clock
hitting it.
yet.
Oh, yeah.
It is worth noting we did fit the game and we played
Yeah.
it. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. It did fill this table.
But a 5th player would have been a struggle.
A 5th player would not have.
Nah, we might have got him
would
in.
have
Well,
move
with a
stuff.
6 feet down there, we would have. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, so that's Apiary.
It's fun. I had fun.
I
Yeah, I'd play it again. Yeah.
I will say that, and I think this is the case of most games. I just wish I had more time to play the same games over and over. I like it more now than I did after the first play.
I was going to ask how your opinion had changed.
That's why I'm not giving it the beans yet.
Yeah.
Like, I went to get prepped. I was talking to wifey as I was getting ready and get prepped and kind of talking through my thoughts of it. And the more I talked to her about it, the more I thought, but I'm not ready to like pass judgment. Like there's something
The
here.
problem is when are you going to get it to the table again? Because
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
own it. Nick
That's
has,
the thing.
yeah.
I
Well, he
wish
doesn't
you, I
own
wish
it
you could do
yet.
replays. Yeah.
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 I can.
Well,
leave it here and pick
next
up
time
what you got.
Stonemaier has a review copy available, hopefully. we can-
Grab one of those.
You got to get the tapestry expansion.
I got to get that tapestry expansion to the table. Yeah, now that the kid's home
Yeah.
and I'm home and
I've got everything
Rob's
for
here.
that.
Get that played, yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and open up the phone lines because that was just kind of the
20
main
minutes.
primer we had.
Sure. Yeah.
Just a quick 20 minutes. 813-618-7099 is the phone number. Phone line's open for you to call in and talk about what you've been up to gaming-wise. Topic-wise for the day, I know we've got some news articles in the Discord news channel. I also have a stack of games that I have played and or acquired, so I'm always down to show off things that have shown up at the house or recent plays.
Same.
Well, and last
Same over there.
Mike's got some?
And
Okay.
last week there was no show because we had Thanksgiving, so we can talk about Thanksgiving games.
Yep, and that's kind of what I got here, a little pile of games that I played for Thanksgiving and such. But Mike, you've been throwing up some really nice photos of your hauls. Like, I don't know if
It's either rains. What is it? Feast or famine? That's what it is.
well, it's not just that you're posting them; is the attention that you put into the picture of them, right? So this isn't just a game on a table. You snap the photo, look what showed up. Like I'm seeing a nice setup, got lights in the background. You got a nice Boker thing
Okay.
going. Yeah, that thing going with the focus. So like you're really selling to
thanks,
us the
man.
games that you bought. So mad props.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any hauls you want to share about recent that excite you?
Halls, H-A-U-L-S, not H-A-L-L-S.
Yeah, English is not his first
Yeah,
language.
there
It's
you go.
fine.
Yes, the
It
lower
figures.
hallway
Figures.
over here. Is very,
Yeah, I honestly,
tour of
I was
Mike's,
like,
place.
has he been doing some kind of architecture
there's just
photo?
like a
I don't know what's going on.
He's doing a lot of forced perspective things through the hallway.
Yeah,
Makes
there you
things
go.
really big.
well, the one is right here, which we
at
kind
that.
of talked. It's over my left shoulder there. Funny thing is we discussed this about the games, the top 5 games last week that we would want to see under our tree. Was that last week? Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Thanksgiving.
And Dogs of War. This is like probably my last Grail game, and I consider a Grail game like a game that isn't in print anymore, hard to find, and even more hard to find if there's like multiple editions or it had extras that rarely popped up. And later that week, some guy in Seattle posted that he was selling it. It was a Kickstarter. I say all in, but it's all in gameplay. All in, I should say. There's a couple of like miniature markers that are kind of like, nobody cares about those. But it has all the factions in it. And the cool thing is I mean, I got it. I think I got it for a good deal, especially with it being a Grail game. But like some of those factions, some of the Kickstarter exclusive factions, they're going for almost $60 alone online. So I got the whole thing for like $150. And
Nice.
comment if it's good or bad. I don't know, but it's in my possession.
It was your
now.
Grail game.
Yeah.
And it's right. It's a Grail game for me, and I'm so happy that I found it. And the guy wasn't pulling my leg when he said, I've opened it up. I've never even played the game. It's just sorted, and it looks like it's never been played before. So,
Well, that's all that matters. And if you're happy with the purchase, it doesn't matter.
oh yeah, totally thrilled. Totally
Yeah.
thrilled about it.
Awesome. Great timing.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Yep. And so you're just making it happen. We were talking last week about games we'd like to see show up under our tree, but you're making that happen. So
Well,
You're
Carlos-
manifesting it.
Yeah, Carlos and I
insane.
kind of, we prefaced it with, it's one of those things. If we want a game, we kind of own it, or we just
Yeah.
go out and buy it. But, like a Grail game, that's a little bit harder to accomplish. But the other thing, which I have to thank Carlos for, I've only got one of the boxes in front of me here, but he sent me the 2 small box all play games of Ghosts of Christmas, which I've already putting my 3D printer to work and printed out a insert for, and Big Top.
Nice.
So thank you, Carlos, for getting those to me. And
The one's a trick taker, right?
Yeah, Ghost of Christmas is a trick taker, and you're kind of, as you're playing cards in the past, present, and future. And you can also do like and beyond, but that's like a harder, more complicated. But you're placing bets on how many tricks you think you're going to win, and then there's a whole point system. But as you're playing cards, you're playing them in different times, like I said, past, present, future, and then it plays out. There's I can't remember how many cards. It's been a little while since I played, but I know I like it, so I'll put it that way. And then Big Top, which I consider probably right now it's my favorite auction bidding game. But yeah, and then they have like discs that you can. It sounds a little complicated. Oh, that's the insert that I printed out right there.
Nice.
That's not my photo, but that's the one I got. So anyway, yeah. So those are, my two most recent ones that I'm pretty happy with.
What was the other one? Of the
Big Top?
Big Top.
Big Top. And it's not the first one; it's the second one. There, yeah.
20 years later.
203
Yeah.
and 2023.
Yeah. So yeah, this one, it's funny. I never watched the Dice Tower review of this, and as I was kind of like sorting things out a little bit, I put their review on, and it was Delicio and Chris Yee that did the review, and they did not care for this game at all, which I thought was kind of funny because some of the things they were bringing up, I didn't think that those were like non-issues to me, and it was like part of the game. I think some of the things that they were complaining about, but
I think bidding games really do have either you click with them or you don't. And I tend to not click with bidding games.
Well, I think this one is pretty straightforward. There's no, like, I put Nidavellir in my sell pile after I got this, like I said I was going to. I think Nidavellir became like a little bit more, it's just a formula, how you're upgrading your coins every round, and it just becomes a formula. Like, if you follow that formula, you got a very good chance of winning the game. Whereas this, the cards are constantly coming up random. You can see what everybody else needs as far as like covering up numbers, and that's kind of as you're making your bets or setting your bets as you go around the table. If you're saying a number of a card that's in front of you where you can cover that number, and covering all the numbers allows you to score for that card, you can like it immediately starts making you think about, well, Wayne over there, he needs a 6 to cover up that card and score for it. I'm going to start the bidding at 6. That way, when it gets around to him, he can't bid 6 and cover that. There's a lot of that going on. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty straightforward betting game, or a bidding game.
And Mike, it looked like it's clearly a circus theme, right?
It is a
That's
circus
the big
theme.
top.
So you start with a ringmaster, and what you're doing is you are trying to you're auctioning for different people to be in your. I mean, that's a very loose theme. Like, you're trying to get the sword swallower, and you're trying to get. But
Kinda
the
like
one
Scout.
thing is like the clown cards are usually star cards. So there's like 1, 2, and 3 stars. And each card has a different point value. If you don't have at least one card that you have completed with a star on it, you do not score any points for that game. You cannot win the game. So as soon as one of those star cards come up, like, the bidding gets crazy at that point, because especially if somebody hasn't gotten one yet, then it gets a little hectic. But then there's like powers, that you can collect where you complete a card and then you can drop a coin on another card immediately, or at the end of the game, any uncompleted card, each coin on that card is worth a point. So it'll like incentivize you not to complete cards. So yeah, but it is basically a circus theme.
Nice.
Anybody else got hauls? Any recent purchases they want to talk about?
So I got to tell this story because Michael will appreciate it. Is I had ordered on Black Friday. I ordered the 2 expansions to Draftosaurus. Which, hold on, this gets better, Mike. Hold on.
All right.
So they were on super sale this summer, and Mike and I both bought them. he was kind of like, I kind of want him, but sure. He gets mine gets canceled. So like the order that I had gets canceled in the summer. So they were back on sale again. I bought both of them again. And I'm tracking it on Amazon because I just know if something's going to happen, it's just not going to come through. Right?
Jeez.
Right? So all of a sudden, your item has shipped. Great. Both expansions shipped. Then the next day, all of a sudden, it's separated into 2 shipments. And I'm like, what's going on here? Yeah.
And so it begins.
What? So it begins. So I get the first thing. I get the first one in the mail, and I'm like, oh, great day! I got the first expansion, like the aerial one, or no, the marina one, the water one.
Okay,
then,
so you got one.
I got one. Then yesterday or 2 days ago, I get notification your second game has arrived. Good. I go to the door. I grab the package. I open it up, and it's a woman's sweater.
Just what you always wanted.
Just what I always wanted, right? And some kind of like krill oil supplements for dog.
Oh boy!
Right?
Oh my
Right?
gosh!
So I look at the package, and the label clearly says some, Christina something whatever from Wesley Chapel, Florida. And I'm like, how did I get her package? And on the underside of the package is like half of a label from my other package, right? Right? So I'm like, are you kidding me? Like my label ripped off or fell on someone else's package. So then like 2 hours later though, I'm like, oh man, I am like, you can tell my wife. She's like, I was furious. I'm like, you kidding me? I get this expansion a second time.
Never getting that.
Like 2 hours later, I get another notification. Your package has arrived. I'm like, that's twice. So I go to the door, and my actual package has arrived.
With the other half of the
With
label.
the other half of the label that was
That's
still
amazing.
scannable, whatever. So I got. So this poor woman in Wesley Chapel didn't get
Poor dog.
Yeah,
Poor dog.
didn't get his
that
fish
oil.
oil supplement or whatever.
Did the
So
sweater fit?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Try it on.
No, but like, oh my god, I spent it. I'm on. My wife's like, well, they delivered to the wrong address. We should just give I'll take the sweater and the fish oil to like our neighbor who has a dog or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm gonna try to find her. I Google searched her name. I looked her on Facebook, couldn't find it. So I spent an hour on Amazon's customer service trying to explain to them. No, I got my package. I just got someone else's package,
bonus package
from Florida. How do I
Amazing.
get this to them or whatever? And they're like, well, you just got to return it. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll return it. So they sent me a return label to return the package from my package.
For your
not
package,
from-
right?
Oh wow!
So are you going to send back your Draftosaurus expansion?
See what happens?
No, I literally wrote on top of the I crossed off the return thing. I said, this is not my order. And I returned it anyway. I just returned her thing.
No.
I'm like, jeez.
It'll show up at the bargain bin on Bush.
I'm sure something.
Well, what's gonna happen is she's gonna get an expansion for
Expansion for
Draftosaurus.
Draftosaurus, yeah. I don't
Like,
know,
what
yeah.
is this?
Another
I'm like,
expansion.
I was her home address. If it was any closer, Wesley Chapel's like a 30-40 minute drive. If it was like 15 minutes away, I would have just gotten my car and drove to her house and
Yeah.
dropped it at her thing. But I'm like, I'm not driving 45 minutes.
There's a board game community in Wesley Chapel.
I know there is. Yes.
Give it to me.
Could have given it to you.
Handed it off.
Lutz band shot.
No, but oh man, I would tell you for like a 2-hour period, Mike, I was about as mad as I've ever been.
Amazing.
I'm like destined to not get, but so now I have both of the Draftosaurus expansions finally,
And you got
after,
the
like,
rare sweater expansion.
I guess sweater expansion. Yeah.
So have you
hard to
have you
find.
played them?
No, I haven't played.
Haven't
No,
played.
I played
Come on.
I said no, but like as we Thanksgiving, that was the hit, man. Like my niece who's 7, my son who's 9, and my wife and sister-in-law, we played it 5 or 6 times that day, to the point where like we bought a copy of Draftosaurus for my niece because she was like
Into it.
I want to play it.
that's
I
awesome.
want to play it. I want to play it. Okay,
Nice.
buy you your own copy. So,
How old is she?
7.
7. Nice. That is a light one. I think for us, Thanksgiving, the hit was Green Team Wins.
Yes.
I'm already getting calls from family members who have, I'm hearing about my son's girlfriend's family. They picked up a copy because she played it here.
Cool.
She told them about it. Now they got a copy at the house. They played it. They loved it. They're picking up extra copies to get more of the boards. So it's like it was a solid hit. Green Team Wins.
Nice.
What's the age range that played there? Because one thing that does occur to me is I feel like some of the questions you need to effectively be an adult to no. So all good.
My 5-year-old grandson plays. He's in kindergarten and he's just learning to write now, and he can write numbers and he can spell a couple of words. But the great thing about the game is you don't have to spell it correctly. It's it's usually choice number 1, 2, or 3, or a this or a that. So you can write a 1 or a 2 for that, or the first letter of each one.
That's an easy way to do it.
And then if it's a blank word, the way that we did it was everybody wrote their word, and then if he could think of a word immediately, we would tell him the letters to write out.
Cool.
And if he couldn't think of one, we would just kind of like drop little hints to him, like, oh, well, what about something like this?
Sure.
And he was able to keep up with us. I mean, it was just and regardless, eventually you're gonna get points in the game,
Right.
And he loved it.
That's awesome. I just remember the Jennifer Lopez versus Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was always those age
Saga.
divides. Some of those
Saga.
questions, will really separate your crowd.
The best part about this game is if playing it with generations to see
Yeah.
how
Yes.
different generations answer these questions.
Sure. That's
'cause
part of it.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Yep, for sure.
I played it with 12 people the day after
Nice.
Thanksgiving, and it got a little. It didn't flow as well as I thought it would, because you had a lot of answers, being shown, and sometimes people would write one, or they'd write the word, or write the entire thing. So it's kind of like, all right, everybody who wrote, one or this, raise your hand. And it got to the point, like, if you said that and you got to 7 people, it's like, okay, those are the ones, if you're with that group, but it got a little, like I said, it didn't flow as smooth as a lower player count. But I think 12 would probably be the max or near max I would even attempt playing that game.
I'd say, and that probably varies depending on the diversity of your crowd, because we played it at Dice Tower. We had probably 15 people playing at Dice Tower, and it flowed really smooth. But we were all gamers.
All
we
gamers,
were
all the same age
all the same
range.
age,
Okay.
roughly same age range. But yeah, the more you diversify from that, I think I can see what you're saying.
No, I can see that, because you'd be like in the Senate, like I want to do my roster. I want everyone to tell me your answer individually. We'll tally on the board which answer got the most. Because it can get confusing.
Yeah, if you have a lot of generations, you're gonna get variants of answers. But I think like you said, Dice Tower, there was at least 15. Of us,
15,
and
16, 17. Yeah.
It was generally like 7 and 8 or 6.
I was gonna say, even the fill in the blank, almost all those, it was either one or the other.
Right,
there might be
right.
somebody who had written something off of the
Weird thing.
Yeah, but
But I would imagine at more player count, you get less of those tie moments, because the one weird or wonkiness of Green Team Wins is when there is a tie.
3 and 3. Or,
Green Team
right,
wins.
right. Even if the Green Team person wrote the non-tie answer, let's say there's 3 different answers.
They get bounced from the green team then.
No, they don't. The rules say if there's an exact tie,
Yeah.
Green Team wins. No matter what that person wrote, as long as they were on Green Team, they get points.
Yes.
It's
I house
weird.
ruled it though, whereas if you're on, just to make it easier for scoring
Right,
and
trying to explain
non-gamers.
that to people was hard.
Yeah, I always put, like, if you tied with the green team but you're on orange, you flip to green and give yourself 1 point. The green team gets 2 points for that, like normal. It was just, I think it's a little too brutal for people that aren't gamers, that are just looking for like a fun party game.
They're like, but I wrote the answer that was in the tie, and I'm not getting any points.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
That does speak to maybe it is better at an odd number, because you have less chance of a tie then.
Yeah.
It could be 2
Maybe,
2 1.
yeah.
But generally, if you have 5 players or 7 players, you're gonna have like 4 and 3.
I would hope that with 12 players, there'd be less chances
Yeah.
of actually tying.
Yeah, the fun part though was when everybody was on green team and it was a fill in the blank. Because then it was like,
Ooh, don't mess it up.
let's if we could all get unique answers on this, we're all still going to score points because it's a tie technically. It's one answer
Actually,
for
no,
everybody.
the rule says if everyone is unique, if not one answer got a majority, everyone goes to orange team.
Yeah, but
everyone
everybody, it is a majority. If everybody answered unique, that's a majority.
No, there's no majority.
I mean, okay, you're right. I'm sorry, you're right. I house
See,
ruled it.
the rule book does have some quirks to it that are hard to explain.
Not real clear.
I was gonna say that's a weird rule to remember. I
Yeah.
didn't know it was that sophisticated.
It's
that's why I
I think it's a 4.5 on the BGG difficulty rating.
Campaign for North Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Harris says, "What's up, boys? It's a balmy 36 degrees here in New Hampshire.
Ooh, wow. 36.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Hey, it was in the 40s here 2
I
days
said we got
ago.
down to like 42 or something a couple days ago.
Yeah, it did.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw an extra
70
blanket.
75 and sunny today. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Back
I
in the
walked
70s.
my kid to the bus stop this morning and it was in the 40s.
Yeah.
It was like 48
chilly.
degrees.
It was chilly.
And then I'm like, well, I got to put him in like pants and a jacket. But I know by noon it's going to be 75 or 80 degrees.
Yep.
Like, Jesus.
Welcome to Florida. Yeah.
I had to sleep with my Will Ferrell socks on, elf.
Yeah.
My elf socks because it was a bit chilly.
Yeah.
Okay, that was Green Team wins. That's plays for Thanksgiving. Nick, any plays at Thanksgiving at your house you want to highlight?
Yeah, not too surprising. The group game that was a lot of success was Scout. We did Scout. Love
Scout's a lot
us
of
some
fun.
Scout. Yep. That's a good one. My cousins actually like run away with that, and this do real well. They understand the strategy, and it's good. On the heavier side, me and 3 other guys played Hansa Teotonica.
Hansa Teutonica. Yeah.
That's the one. Yes,
Yep.
and that was
That's great.
yeah.
Hansa Teutonica.
You are
Yeah.
exactly
The
right.
re-implementation
Tell
of
him what he
Hansa Teotihuacan.
That's right. So route building game with action selection. Awful artwork and very vanilla, like very brown.
Yeah.
So
very,
brown.
Very brown.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
like-
White
like
guy
that
on the
together.
cover.
Brown.
Tell me more.
Hey, there's an ugly white guy on the cover.
Are there cubes?
But they're cubes. Nothing but cubes. So many cubes and then a few discs. But I liked it a lot. I like this one a lot for its like tenacious simplicity and just like actions economy.
Rob and I played that at one of the Wesley Chapel
Jim
board game
taught it
days.
to us,
did
and we
you?
were like,
And we're like,
That's fine.
Yeah.
You can be wrong.
Swipe left.
Yeah.
and Jim was pretty disappointed that we were meh on it. He
yeah,
was, he about lost his stuff.
If anybody else is going to like this game, Rob and
Odette?
Wayne are going to like
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
Jim,
Odette
okay, well,
taught it
Jim,
to us, yeah.
Jim, if you're listening, I'll play.
There
I
you
do not
go.
own the
Yeah.
copy. It was my cousin's
I'll
copy.
play it again.
Oh, yeah, I played again.
Yeah,
it
it's
wasn't
fun.
bad.
Don't
It's-
listen to
I mean,
him.
it's
Apiary or Hansa Teutonica?
Apiary.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I don't know. That's close for me. Probably Hansa, but yeah, they're
I
close.
don't know, just like quick judge, I'd probably Apiary is a little more colorful, a little
Okay.
bit more
There you go, Nick. You kind of got it. In.
Yeah.
the same
yeah,
range.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a
Good.
good game. It's a good,
But no,
not a
that was
bad game.
that's it.
You got BJ commenting there in the group chat.
Uh-oh.
BJ.
It's BJ,
I
Are
enjoy
you a
it.
Hansa fan?
founder of Teutonics. Tape Teutonics.
Beige
Beige is the rage. There you go.
Always count Louisiana.
Yeah.
Punt it up for us.
Oh, there we go. It's, Dave Godfrey here. Hey guys, first time watching
Hey,
the show.
cool.
He was a co-guest. So yeah, for the Beans and Dice crew out there, I was asked to be, or I was invited to be a guest on the Board Game Rundown show. They have a Whiskey Wednesday. Whiskey Wednesdays.
Oh.
Yeah, they drink whiskey and do top
Salud.
5 lists and talk and stuff. And they had this cool. They did a Friendsgiving episode.
Yep.
Where they basically just invited on just listeners. So I listened to the show every Wednesday. I jumped on for an hour and a half, and we did a top 5 games, and then we also did the board game quiz show. It was kind of cool. I forget the Rossi family, Deanna Rossi and somebody. I forget her husband's name. They had a whole bunch of components, and they would hold a component, and you had to guess the game.
Oh, that's cool.
And if you didn't guess it, they would bring up the next component, and they had 3 components for each game. So and it was a fun little game. I thought that'd be good. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was good having you.
I think I snagged an image of Wayne on the show.
Yep.
There you go.
There he
Very
is.
cool. Yeah, and hopefully I see the discussion there. Hopefully we didn't temper your expectations with Apiary.
Apiary, yeah.
Solid game.
It was a very solid game. It was good. It was and I think that's part of the thing is I think we're all of us in our gaming life cycle, or we have 400 or 500 games usually each, and so it's like at this point, in order to enter my game collection, you have to be
Gotta wow you.
you have to wow me. And this game didn't wow me, but it was a really good game. I really enjoyed it.
And again, after 3 plays, I like it more than after my first play.
Yeah.
So that's hopeful for
a good
those that
sign.
want to try. Yep.
Yeah, because I would say if the game to me did not have a hope or a glimmer of something deeper in here,
Yeah.
I would give it the beans on 1 play.
Right.
Yeah.
Give it the beans, be done with it, never talk about it again.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to give it the beans. I'm hoping to get this one to the table again so we can explore a little more.
There we go. BJ from Board Game Gumbo, Apiary.
Better
greater
than Hansa Teutonica.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
And Kyle, Mr. G's, he watched it. It was fun. Hey, thanks, Kyle. Appreciate that. And it was Dee and Dave Rossi. They watch a bunch of YouTube stuff, and they go to all the cons. I've seen them on a lot of chats from different shows and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool to have them out there. And BJ again here. There's been a few duds from Stonemaier lately.
See, all right.
Ooh, few
Apiary is
duds.
not one of them.
Jay and
though,
I
so-
are seeing eye to eye on that
A
one.
few duds.
Yeah,
But,
I think
Oh,
Rob agrees
come
with
on.
Rob agrees with BJ's on it.
What-
Apiary, amazing. 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10. Yeah, 2 out of 10. Right up there. Yeah.
Must buy.
Yeah. Well, I say, so duds, I mean, do we want to call them out? I mean, we know that Pendulum was one that didn't go
Pendulum.
over big.
Okay, let me just be
Rising.
like straight up. You know, Stonemeyer is has
So
sponsored
that's
part
why
of
I
the
said,
show
do we
before.
want to? Yeah, it's, but,
So, but we are not afraid to tell
put it
how
out
it
there.
is.
Yeah.
You know,
so I'm trying to think of, again, multiple duds. I would
Red
say
Rising.
Pendulum.
Go,
Red
whoa,
Rising.
no, whoa.
So that's
Yeah.
a split one, but I would agree with
Whoa.
Mike on that. Yep, I would agree with
I
Mike.
just-
I have
disagree.
not played Red Rising, so I can't speak to that.
All right.
I have not played it, although actually I hate to hear you say that because I went ahead and read the Red Rising
did.
trilogy.
Just to get ready for it.
I'm on book 4 now.
I read the trilogy so I could play the board game, but then actually haven't played the board game yet.
Yeah.
So I was like,
So we should
I
play
think
the
that's the
We should play
differentiator
sometime.
too. Is anyone who I know has read the novels with me, like that I also like I have, has enjoyed the game.
I think that's probably it.
Maybe.
I don't- well.
Whenever you have a game based on IP like that, if you know the IP, it certainly must help with the immersion, right? It must help if you're enjoying. But Mike, what were you gonna say?
I agree. I think it would help with the immersion. And what comes to mind immediately is when Wayne and I went back and forth about Dune, that I was playing the original Dune a number of
Right.
times. I don't know anything about the Dune lore. Never really watched the movies. I'm not one of those Dune nuts. And then when Wayne started telling me, oh yeah, well, the Bene Gesserit, this, they started planting seeds for this, and it made more sense. I was like, oh, okay, well that makes more sense. But the foundation of the game is still there. It's still a good game. Whereas I think Red Rising needs a lot of touch-ups to make it flow a little bit better. And I think it would be a better game if it could be visually fixed, especially the cards, like where some of the markings are on the cards. I think kind of every time that you want to pick a column that you're
for it.
have cards that you want to interact with, you have to pick up the entire column, look at them, read them all. You're covering up all the text on the cards every time you want to, work in that column. So it's, I don't know, for me, and believe me, I wanted to like the game because I know he was discussing that it was based off of Fantasy Realms, which I absolutely love that game. It's a very quick, I would almost call it a party game. So I was very much looking forward to it, but unfortunately it didn't hit home for me.
It's funny here you mentioned the nits on the card anatomy and what like that, because that reminds me, I wonder if they just need to have more editors in their publishing or something. Because
Hey, David, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
appreciate
thank you,
you stopping in.
Yeah, thanks for checking in.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, man,
I remember now. His wife's a beekeeper, so this
Oh, yeah.
this
yeah,
game
that's what
could.
you mentioned, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You mean had you said it in just regular bee nature, it could have been.
That's a general consensus on Apiary is we all liked it, but if we did, and you hit the nail on the head, is if it was actually the nature theme, it'd probably be even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and actually, yeah, one of my big hooks, because we talked about this before, is we looked into beekeeping. I successfully didn't get bees. Remember, that was the big funny success. But anyways, my commentary on what was the one
Red Rise.
the new mech game.
Expeditions?
Expeditions, right? Because you were nitpicking card anatomy, and I'm still hung up that he called the cards that are on the table
In your hand.
In your hand.
In your hand.
and it's like, did this not go through professional word check?
English is
editing?
also not his first language.
It's just not your hand, dude. It's not it. It's cards on the table. Anyways.
BJ put the greater than signs in the wrong direction.
I agree with you, Michael.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
All right. I've not played Marvel Remix
You
or
flipped
Red Rising,
that.
so
Yeah.
I can't speak to this.
No, you flip that and you'd be 100%
Right on the money.
right. Yeah. I would put Fantasy Realms over Red Rising only because of ease and speed.
Yeah.
And then I would put all of them over Marvel Remix because Marvel Remix,
Muddies.
yes.
I've never played
Yeah.
that. So is that a similar, this card will benefit from
Exact
a power on
same
this card?
base game. So
Okay.
it's the same company that makes Fantasy Realms, right? Except for
Oh.
now it's Marvel, right? So now it's Marvel.
Okay.
And now they have symbols, so icons that you're going to be gathering based on the cards you play. And then the cards can transform, so you got Bruce Banner, and if you have these other cards in your hand, you can flip them around to turn Bruce Banner into Hulk. Or if you get Mjolnir and Thor. Now it's like God of Thunder, right? And, so you flip him around. It really convoluted the game even more than I think Red Rising did.
BJ's on fire tonight, man.
Fantasy Realms has the greatest artwork since my refrigerator.
There you go.
I was like, he said, Mike was doing so well.
This is
So
a
well,
call-in
show.
show. Why don't you
Sad
call
to see him
in?
retire.
Mike was doing so well.
I don't know. His accent might be too southern for this.
We think it's a fake.
BJ, how much whiskey you've had?
Feeling a little spicy.
Been hitting the bottle tonight.
It's Louisiana. They're always
Funny.
spicy.
Yeah.
But I want to play Red Rising though, because I literally
We should play sometime.
Like I've not played the game, and I know that there's the biggest complaint I've heard about the game is the deluxe version and the confusion with
They
Yeah.
fixed
the-
that issue though.
Yeah,
They did. Yeah.
The books are really fun, and so I think I would be into the game because of the theme, right? And so I can see where, like you said, like I think where the Dune game from 1978 or whatever it is.
Right, yeah.
Is still played today because it's a good game, and it's even better if you know Dune. I can see where if Red Rising it's not that, right? So it may not.
See, but there's a mitigation factor. Like, so if you ever played Fantasy Realms or Marvel Remix, you're tending to hunt for a certain combination of cards to
Right.
end the game with to be able to trigger your maximum scoring. In Fantasy Realms, less and much less in Marvel Remix. Compared to Red Rising has a mitigation factor. In Red Rising, you have these engineers that can replace a card that's missing or a color that's missing that you need. So, like, this card can be whatever you need it to be in order to fill that combination that you're seeking. So, I mean, that I like best about Red Rising.
right. I want to play it. So
Yeah, who brought that up? That was a good one. I have no idea how we got there.
It was, no, we were talking about
stinkers.
Stinkers. Yeah. I mean, I don't think.
Mike sucks. I
I don't think you can put. I don't. Well, Apiary is clearly not there. I don't. Expeditions isn't a stinker.
I don't.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
It's a solid
good,
game.
yeah.
So really, it's Pendulum, and then arguably Red Rising.
That's what I was trying to come up with. What was the next one? So Pendulum. If we say they're duds, plural, what is it? What is it with
I
Pendulum?
think Pendulum is his biggest dud.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I haven't even played it. I bought it. I literally bought
It's
it.
the sand time.
Cashed
thing.
out,
It's
like
just-
out of my own pocket, bought it, and still haven't played it. I tried to read through the rules, try to get it, and it just no. I think Euphoria to me was also not.
But it's also it didn't hit for you, but it's been in print and is it's up there in the.
I wouldn't call it a
rankings.
dud. It
Yeah,
just
it's
didn't
not a
hit for
dud.
me.
Right? Yeah. I think general consensus is that Pendulum is kind of a dud.
But I guess what stinks is the guy made millions off of like viticulture and Scythe.
Sorry.
So like anything that this is
hard to-
Michael
That's a
Bay.
high bar.
Yeah.
It's Michael Bay,
It's a
and
high
if
bar.
that next film, right?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
well,
no, you had viticulture, you had
Wingspan.
Scythe, and now Wingspan.
Wingspan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wingspan,
It's,
yeah.
it's like every game you create is going to be judged against those three.
correct. So here comes Napoleon, right? The new movie, and everyone wants to compare it to Gladiator, right? Because the last movie he made was amazing. Well, you know what? It's a good film. It's just not as amazing, so people
Yeah.
just look at it like
True.
a flop.
Yeah,
That's not
absolutely.
right. That's not right.
man, not right.
I would say that honestly,
Between
I
two
think,
castles. Ooh, yeah.
Oh. Forgot about that one.
I was
Good
going to
call.
say that I think when Tapestry first came out, I don't think people were too thrilled about it. But now that it's been out in circulation, I think people are starting to come around to it a lot more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot more.
Yeah.
And the expansions have added to that.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I was going to ask what you guys thought about where Tapestry fits in, because you mentioned viticulture, Scythe, and Wingspans kind of skipping over Tapestry, because I now like Tapestry as much as almost any other Stonemaier game because I've played it more and grown to appreciate the depth and the value of the different tracks. And then, yes, the expansions add a ton to it.
I mean, I really like Tapestry. I just will never play with Nick or Bowser.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's a trap.
I like Tapestry a lot, but I don't think I put it out quite on par with the other three.
It's like one step below those.
Yeah, it's a step
Yeah.
below. Mm. I like Tapestry quite a bit.
Yeah, and
It's
in my
too-
defense, being the true completionist that I am, and you guys are going to laugh at this, I have Tapestry, all the expansions, and Insert, and I've still never played
Never
it.
played it. I knew that was coming. Knew that was coming.
And he probably has the Rolling Realm packs for Tapestry.
No, I don't have the Rolling Realms pack, but
Yet.
here's the
better get
thing. I am eagerly anticipating the rebalancing of all the factions that he's going to be releasing soon.
Yeah, you can try them on BGA. I've tried.
Yeah.
Oh, they're already
Yeah,
out there?
you can
Oh.
set when you set up a game on BGA, you can set it to the experimental.
Have you played with them
You
yet?
talking about Tapestry?
Yeah.
Okay, so they added. I thought it was just one of the expansions worth of factions.
No, but like in the setup of the game, you can drop down and say, "I want to play the experimental
Gotcha.
factions,"
Of
and
the-
it'll
of the-
be
of the base.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, of the base. Yeah. So,
And would you say that it helps? I mean, from your experience with the game?
guess.
And that's the thing is there's all this rebalancing that's done, but the game has so much other levers that get pulled.
There
Can
are a
you
couple of
really
factions
ever
that were-
say
there were a couple of factions that were really powerful? Just like even with Scythe, there's like that one combination of like
Bruce Viet
Bruce
and
Viet,
Patriot.
what a Patriot,
Economic
like,
or whatever,
You just
yeah.
can't play that, right? Because it's
Well, and he did
so-
fix that in the rule book.
Right,
Where he
yeah.
says if you get this combo,
Put it back.
Choose different. Yeah.
We choose, yeah. So, but no, Tapestry is fun. I like it. It's a game that like I feel like I do better in person than online because I can see the board better, maybe. But but it's a good.
I agree. In person, my ADD is works. It is a ball of Ritalin, like for me that game, because it lets me jump around in all the different directions. But if it's on the app, the BGA app, you can only see so much at a time, right? So I can't do it on the BGA, but I can do it on the tabletop.
Have you broken 100 yet?
Oh, I actually, while we were talking, I pulled up my stats.
I believe
while
I was
we were
there for
talking,
that one. Yeah.
and my high score is now 192.
Oh,
That's a real
what?
score.
Hey,
In 3 plays, my average is 106.
nice.
Nice.
Look at
There you
that.
go.
I mean, it's not quite the 300 plus that Nick and Bowser score on a regular basis, but
No, anything over 300 is still exemplary for a base game. I will say it's actually they've muddied the waters on BGA by adding the new factions
Yeah.
from one of the expansions. I scored a 350, but I don't count it because I know it was because of one of the new factions ability gave me like 50 extra points at least in the last play. So there you go. Anyways, it's good.
I know that Louisiana loves it. I know every time I talk to Mitch,
loves it, yeah.
loves it. Here goes Board Game Gumbo. BJ says Tapestry might be the biggest game in terms of differential between my enjoyment and my skill. I am terrible at the game, yet I love it.
Yeah, that says a lot, though.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about like TI4. Like I've never won it. I can't seem to get a win, so I suck at it.
Let's play.
But man, I love it.
yeah, like Tapestry, I'm like in the middle. Like I'm like 180 to 220 every time I play.
Yeah.
Like
That's a
it's
small band.
Just can't break that
Like
threshold.
I either get like 180, 185, 210 in that range. It's just I can't every now and then I do worse, right? But like I can't seem to like grok it where I just get like the 250, 280,
Do
whatever.
you
It's
find
like-
yourself falling back to a pattern that like, oh, I know this works at this point in the game?
That's probably
or-
what it
or-
is. Yeah, it's probably just I generally fall back to the same tracks or the same.
Because I've actually found myself grinding through Hadrian's Wall on BGA, and a totally different game, totally different publisher. But I'm saying Hadrian's Wall, right? That's the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the spreadsheet, the game that is
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
spreadsheet,
yeah.
check
Yeah, yeah.
boxes. That's one that I find that I've made it through a bunch of plays. In fact, I admit I even soloed because on BGA you can just set up a one-player game. You just play the game solo, and then it flies through like 10 minutes. You're done, and I can't change my score more than 10 points almost no matter what I do. And it's like, what's going on here? And I feel like it's because my first like 3 rounds I do normally
Prescribed
I
the
do-
same thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. I was like, you have to defend a certain amount against the attacks. You have to build up the citizen tracks, and like I feel like you have to, but maybe you don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, what do we got?
All right. Other recent plays. Let me
yeah.
talk to you all a little bit about. Not ready to give it the beans. Not yet. Where's the camera? There it is. Haha. General Orders World War II. Look how small that box is.
There's a little
Look at
box.
that.
Yeah.
You can,
Or you
can
just have
palm
big
this thing.
hands.
No.
Giant hands.
David Thompson and Trevor Benjamin. So when this combo comes together in war games, you know it's going to be good. This little title right here, very small package, very small board.
Fun game.
Yes, it
Surprisingly
was
fun. Yes.
I wasn't sure where this one was going to land in my backpack wargaming games, and what I mean by that is Blitzkrieg, Caesar sees Rome in 20 minutes or less, and Dogfight. I would consider all those like backpack wargaming games because they're small. You can put them in a backpack, play it at a pub. This one shot right to the top. It beats out any of the other ones. Actually feels like a tactical area control combat game.
Yeah, a little tiny board. It was cool.
Little tiny board. Look at that. Little tiny board. It's a worker placement game. Every space is an action space for your worker. You get a number of commanders that you're going to use, and those commanders are used to trigger the space, which allows you to then move your units on the board to take control of spaces. By controlling spaces, it opens up other actions such as artillery barrages, paratrooping units into spaces that are far away, getting extra bonuses for controlling certain spaces, such as extra dice when you defend or when you attack, or more units when you move in. And it's very chess-like tactical, with a small amount of luck just to really spice it up.
Right.
The dice vary in that it's a 6-sided dice. One side is a 0, one side is a 2, all the other sides are 1. So you can see the bell curve is very small.
Right.
And you're rolling at most 3.
Yeah.
If you did a really good job of comboing cards up, maybe 4 dice.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So you're never rolling a ton of dice. So the dice swinginess is not really there. But the key part is the card play.
Yeah.
You're taking the plan action to draw more cards. These cards are what really spice the game up. Let you do things like Blitzkrieg, which means if you take a space, you can throw down a Blitzkrieg card and then move again. So like double move all in one turn. So it's a good one. I want to give it the beans completely, but I want to get more plays in because I can see this title shooting up quick on my favorite games.
Carlos and I played the base side of the board because there are 2 sides. I don't know if you mentioned.
I didn't even get into the asymmetric side.
Yeah, there's the symmetrical side, which was, again, he said felt very chessy. And so, but we had not, or I don't know if you've played the other side of the board
yet,
which is asymmetrical. So I'm curious to see how much that is, because the first side, everything's exactly a mirror image on one side and the other. Mm-hmm. The other one is very different. And so there's air power. One of you starts with more air power. One of you starts with more territory control, closer abilities to move in to get some of those bonuses. So they play very different. And so I'm curious to see how that's going to mix up the game. But
and it seems like easy expansion is just new boards.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Because the theme isn't really tied into the mechanics. This really could be anything.
I was going to ask you if it's actually a war game because you said worker placement. So, I mean, is it...
It felt like, see, that's the thing, is I wasn't sure if it was going to feel like a war game, but it did.
It does.
Because as you take the actions, they let you do war things, like step in and attack and combat and defend and paratroop and artillery. On the asymmetric side, it takes it into this like dual layer zone, right? So on the symmetrical side, it's very basic. You're moving in, everything's symmetrical. There's a city with some spaces that give you bonuses, right? But when you flip it over to the asymmetric side, there's an invasion going on. You can see down here that the allied players coming off of carriers.
The one side seems like it's battle for Stalingrad or something like that. You're all fighting for the same city.
It's Pacific Islands. So
okay.
it's almost like an island invasion here.
Nice.
The yellow player, which I wasn't sure how this got past production on this one. The yellow player plays the Pacific side.
Sure.
And you're entrenched in your island. You actually start with more. Yeah, I know, Wayne. Wayne is cringing. I also cringed. I wasn't sure how they got away with that. But you start off with more air power. You start off with more units on the board, and you already control more spaces that do more cool stuff.
Yep.
So the allied player is already starting on a tougher spot, coming in onto the board, having to actually take ground. And what's cool about this part is it adds airplanes. So it's multi-layered, right? So we talked about the first side being symmetrical. It's all land-based. Now take that land-based map and add an abstracted air control. So what I mean by that is each of the hexes on this board that are land spaces are wrapped around by a colored zone. Mm-hmm. So then on the side of the board, that colored zone is represented by this little half circle here. Whoever controls that zone controls the airspace over those hexes. Sure, so whenever those players defend, they get extra dice to their defense because they have air power control over that. That player that has air power control can bomb it, can add more aircrafts, can move to other adjacent zones to fight those air zones. So it feels like what's that chess in Star Trek? Like there's
three-dimensional chess.
Yeah, it's like 3D chess. Like you got this one layer of the board that you're playing on, and then there's this like other layer. I'm excited to play this side of the board. So I don't want to get too deep into that, but that's our initial thoughts on
heads up only.
Yeah.
2v2 or 1v1.
1v1, yeah, 2-player.
2-player.
That's kind of cool though.
No, that's good.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was surprised with how good it was. I'm not big into war games. Carlos was excited to play it, so I came over. We racked it a couple times and played it pretty quick, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's one of the games I played. Anybody want to talk about a game they played?
I got to actually play Sushi Go Spin Some for Dim Sum.
There you go.
With the family. Again, another hit.
Big one.
My wife, sister-in-law, who my wife's family is part Chinese, and so they love their dim sum, and so they were all into it. They were like, "Oh, this is cool."
I know you talked about getting it to the table.
Yeah, getting it to the table.
So you did
yes.
get it to the
Get
table.
it to the table. Yep. Yeah, it was fun. And they played it. We played it a couple times. Re-racked it because it's such a fast game. It's like, it's like boom. So it hit, and actually they all said the same thing. Like we've all played Sushi Go a few times, and like I like this better than Sushi Go.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
I still
okay,
think
nice.
I think Sushi Go Party is probably the best. Because of the diversity
Variability,
there,
yeah.
all the variability of it. But the dim sum is just so fast. And I tell you what, I did a little house rule. I think one of those orders, the order cards where you have to get 4 of a thing to get it. There's too many of them, I think, in the game, and so sometimes they could like
Clog up.
So I took out about a third of them. I just took them out.
Okay.
And I think it worked well because just the right amount came up. We played, I think, a 4-player game and a 6-player game. And it worked really well, taking out a couple of those order cards, just a few, just to make sure they don't oversaturate the market sort of thing. And it worked really well. It was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. I like that one.
Yeah, it was fun.
I know that one was on sale at Target.
Yeah.
And my family did pick up a copy of that. We haven't got it to the table yet.
Super quick.
It's fun.
15 minutes.
Because based on your conversation for our Thanksgiving show was the reason that one ended up on the Target list.
There you go.
Cool.
Mike, any recent plays that you want to highlight?
No, I haven't had a chance other than Green Team Wins that I played when we went to our friend's house with the family.
That got played too.
Oh, Bananagrams.
Oh, nice. You got a copy.
So this one I'll share the story on this one. So again, that Target one, right?
talked about this game,
We're at the
right?
Target run, and Wayne has talked about this game so many times. I'm like, one day I'm going to scoop it up, and I saw on the aisle it said $7, and I'm like, dang, that's half price. It's like $8 off. That's great. Both crates, because they come in like little boxes with bags of these sitting in them on the display, empty. They're empty. They were full of like Uno cards and other games, and I'm just disappointed. I'm like, man, wish I would have came in earlier. I would have found it. And then I thought to myself, I said, Self, if you had a game that you wanted, but you weren't sure if you were going to pick it up yet, what do you do with it? You know what I do with it? I tend to hide it behind like Monopoly. Like if there's a game that's like I see it at Target on
my
sale,
Gosh.
and like I think I want this, but it's like the last
that
copy.
guy.
I'm just gonna put it behind the wall, the
Really?
Monopoly, and then make my decision as I shop. Right.
Put in your cart, man.
So you know what I went? I went to the Monopolies and I started pulling them, and guess what was behind the Monopoly?
way.
Kidding me?
This copy
Wow.
of Bananagrams.
That's
You
amazing.
stole someone.
Someone else
Yeah.
thought like Carlos thought and hit a banana.
That's got a different meaning, but
It is after 10 o'clock.
That was after 10 o'clock. We can start talking about that now. Yeah.
Hit a banana behind the Monopoly, so I got myself a $7 copy of Bananagrams.
Have you played
That
it?
is
I
amazing.
did play solo. I
Okay,
used the
fun,
solo
right?
rules.
Yeah.
It was late because I got home late from Target that evening. It's like 10 o'clock. My brain did not work. That was hard. It took a little while to finally beat it, but I see it here. Wifey wants to play, so we got a copy
fun,
of that.
fast.
It's a fun game.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
let me call out a game that's on your shelf over there that yeah, I'm sure you were going to want to talk about. So this is Skulk Hollow.
Oh, this
Carlos,
will- oh, yeah.
Carlos
cool,
and I
cool.
had a chance to play this, and so I'm going to mostly be quiet because I talked this game up so big, and now I'm worried.
So big that I immediately bought
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So now I'm a little worried. But so what's your opinion now that you've had a few days to soak it in? And I don't know. Have you played it again?
I have not
Okay.
gotten a chance to play it with my son yet. I'll pull up the images here. So here's Skulk Hollow. Here's the box. I never would have given this game a second look.
Yeah.
Looking at this cover.
Although the foil of it, as you play
It's
with it,
it's got the UV coating,
UV coating, yeah.
right? And which is okay. Yeah, UV coating. You can see it
This
there.
means it's not recyclable because it's got microplastics in it.
Is that what it is? Okay. But it's got that root cuteness to it. You can kind of see the animal.
First thing, I had no idea what it looked like actually, and so
So it's got this animal cuteness. You play the Fox and Heroes. That's one side. The other side will play one of these Titan-like creatures, these big guys. that have their own special abilities, special powers. You get some fluff in there. Rob, I'm sure you read the fluff, right?
Oh, sure, of course I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
It's not
all
a
about the
campaign
theme.
game. He
All
threw
about
that
the
right
theme,
out.
yeah.
Rule book is super simple, nice big font, not very long, and it explains it actually very well.
Yep, good
Here's
rule book.
the
Look
Titans.
at those.
Yeah.
Giant Titans that you play, and they have spaces on there for the little foxen creatures to leap up onto their leg and then crawl up to their arm to do damage to the arm and then do damage to the head.
That's
and if you
neat.
do enough damage to any body part, you stop them from doing that action. So if I attack for 2 damage your left hand, you can no longer swing and take the swing action. They have all these different asymmetric baddies. The foxen are all pretty much the same. They all do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's these baddies where the fun is really in. You got this little board, which is a little weird in how you play it because you play it at an angle like this, kind of like a diamond shape, not squares across from each other. You play it at an angle, and then everybody gets their own decks. Look at this
that
insert.
Look at that
Yeah,
insert.
insert
Look at that
is awesome.
insert.
That's
Yeah.
pretty nice. Yeah.
Everybody gets their own deck.
Little tuck boxes.
Yeah, little
Yeah.
tuck boxes with their
Yeah.
own cards,
Yep.
their own meeples. Check these out. Every big baddie. Look at that meeple there.
You have different meeples in each one of them.
big baddie, and because he's an eagle, he gets a cloud. So when he's flying in the air, you set him on the cloud. You see how and they're all like this.
He's got certain attacks he can do when he's on the cloud. He's got
Yeah.
certain attacks he can do when he's on the ground. Yeah,
This guy.
yeah. They
So
are.
this was on my Amazon wish list for Christmas, and it suddenly disappeared. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be.
There you go. Good sign.
Is it
Good
getting
sign.
sent to the lady with
Yeah,
the
maybe in
dog
Western
and the
Chapel.
sweater?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of other components, but the little wooden components are really cool too.
Yeah, all the meeples are great. I'm looking forward to playing this with the boy. Robert and I played twice real quick because I think I beat him up real fast.
Switch
Yeah.
on and off. Play.
No, I played the bad guy.
Yeah.
Just the bad guy, the biggin. Rob played the Foxens, and I think there's it's simple, right? And I think I need to get to the bigger, more complex
Yeah, we just played.
baddies.
We just played the starter, the introductory bad guy,
also known as Grak.
Grak. Yeah,
Grak is and you'll see stars on each of their top
How
rights.
tough they are.
difficulty. Yeah,
So that's 1 out of 3.
how complex they are. Yeah.
For them to win, all he has to do is beat up 8 guys, and that was pretty. But Rob, here's the deal.
I was trying to teach it real fast. So.
Rob did teach it, and
Yeah.
and man, actually, we only played once. Rob and I only played once. Let me say that.
Yeah.
Rob and I only played once. Rob, where you messed up was you left your leader.
Right.
You really put your leader out there, and this game is one of the games where if you defeat the leader, the king, the Foxens
automatically
lose
lose.
immediately.
Yeah.
You have to protect that piece, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where Robert kind of was just teaching the game, just throwing him around willy nilly. I stepped on him, I swamped him,
Yeah.
I gazed him. It was great. I
Yeah.
played solo a couple times afterwards to kind of see is this broken?
Oh, no, no.
And that's where I got worried.
Yeah.
Because you saw the disappointment in my face.
When I told you that when Dan and I played it, it literally came down to the last play. I had the card that ended up beating him. I played the Fox and Creatures again, and the last card I played did the last hit to beat Grak. If he showed me afterwards, if I had not beat him on that turn, he had the card that was going to beat me on the next turn. So we only played once there at Sobo, but I got the feeling from that play, and again, that's opposite of the play that I had with you, is that if the game is really that tight and comes down to one hit one way or the other on a consistent basis, this is going to be a really good game. That's where when Dan and I played it, came down to one hit, and we were like, whoa, that's a game we want to play again. We didn't have time to play again, but yeah.
the feelings I got out of it after our initial play was, I'm afraid there's something broken. I'm afraid Caesar's
Yeah.
Empire.
Yep.
I'm afraid, Wayne has something to say about that.
No, I played Caesar's Empire at the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And that brokenness.
Still there?
No, not there.
Not
It
there.
wasn't.
Okay, see?
Yeah.
So, and that
played
was
it
my
and it
worry
wasn't
with,
there, yeah.
with Skulk Hollow is that there's a brokenness to it, like a key. You can find it. And now the game is broken. But after I ran through some solo of it on my own, kind of some different tactics and approaches, what I ended up doing was putting it away. And here's why. The next thing I wanted to do after playing with Rob was play with my kid. But then the more I played through some of the mechanisms of it, I realized, no, this is a game that I want to play with someone on my level.
Oh, yeah.
Like I want to play an intellectual combat with someone else because it's not going to be fair to play it against a small guy. So that's where it's back. So I'll say this, Rob. It got put away, not because I don't want it to play it, but because I don't want to play with my kid.
Okay.
Like I don't want to just beat up on my son with
Or
it.
you want to pull punches.
Right. I don't want to have to pull punches. I don't want to have the game.
Although I felt the mechanics were simple enough. I don't know. I'd have to see it played with a kid.
Do you think our 12-year-olds will be able to keep up with us?
I think so. Again, that game that we played, I told you when I was doing it, when I moved my king onto your bad guy, I said I wouldn't normally do this, but I know we're just trying to kind of rush through this. So let me just throw him out there and show you how that works and start climbing the bad guy. But no, what I needed to do was spawn other guys, throw them at you, and have them climb the bad guy and do the damage. But
yeah, and there's the ability that the Fox and get is if the leader, the king, is with any other unit, the bad guy cannot target the leader directly.
Yeah, right.
He has to separate him from his friends before he can target the leader. So you didn't use that to your advantage.
Right.
So altogether, that way I don't belabor it too much. Good game, and I want a rematch, and I want to do it right.
Let's do it. Yeah, we'll do it right. But a lot of fun. I liked it a lot.
Mike, any plays over there you want to highlight? That was Rob. Rob highlighted it, but I talked about it.
Yep.
Yeah. No plays. I told you it was only green team wins so far.
Yeah, you asked him
Just,
before. It's still the same answer.
Busy with other things.
Yep.
Okay. Last play that I want to talk about is, which I'm not giving it the beans yet, Lord of the Rings: The Adventure to Mount Doom. It's a Cosmos game, and let's see. Do we know the designer at all?
You monster! You're reading
Michael
back this way, but you got the lid on sideways. So
How dare you, sir?
He just throws them on. However, it doesn't.
I'm not
matter.
familiar with this designer. I'm not familiar with anything that they've published before. But I played this with the family. I think we played twice now. I recommend this. And
Cooperative?
Fully cooperative.
Yeah.
Fully cooperative. And it runs you through the Lord of the Rings novels, not the movies. And it does a great job of hitting all the events that would have occurred in the novels through as you watch your fellowship go. The game is played. It's a roll-in move in a sense. You have some control. So check this out. There's a book and this little card tablet that you place your dice on. You're going to place 4 dice on this card. So you're going to take 4 dice and roll them. 2 dice are always going to be the 2 black event dice. And that's going to trigger bad stuff that happens. And then you have 5 members of the fellowship that have their own color: purple, red, green, blue, and orange. You have to decide what 2 of those dice you want to add to that dice pool. You're going to chuck those dice, and then you're going to pick 2 of those dice. One has to be black, and one can be a color of the fellowship. That's how many spaces each of those are going to move based on what you roll. Then you're left over with 1 black die and 1 fellowship die. At that point, you get to add another fellowship die of your choosing to that pool. You have 3 dice now. You chuck those 3 dice, and then from there, you place the black die. At this point, you don't have a choice because whatever the black die came up to is what it is. And then you have 2 fellowship dice you get to choose from to place. Then you trigger those like a story. The first black die goes, that triggers an event off of the event track. Then the fellowship member moves a number of spaces, which could land on a Nazgul, which if 8 of the Nazgul show up, you immediately lose. It could end on a disheartened space, which if Frodo's courage goes down because of disheartened all the way to the end of the track, you lose. So you're trying to pick the right fellowship member to move so they don't land on those spaces. And you're trying to get them all to the end of the stage together, because if characters go too far ahead, like past beyond the stage, they're not going to be there to help support Frodo and Sam in any battles that occur, because sometimes a battle will trigger from the black dice. So you're really trying to balance which dice you choose, which dice you roll, because you have to risk mitigate to say, okay, well, Gimli is about to go into the next stage. So let's not roll a Gimli dice. Let's roll a Legolas dice because he's earlier in the stage. We can afford any one of those numbers that show up and not get him past the stage. But if we do happen to roll too far and he's out, he can't support us in the battle. There are decisions here. Don't let the roll and move fool you. There are decisions to make, but the story and the narrative is what I enjoyed.
So it's co-op.
Full co-op, 100.
But does each person control one of the characters?
No. On your turn, you decide how to create your dice pool. You get your 2 black dice, and you decide which 2 members of the fellowship you want to move.
Gotcha.
And then all the friends that you find along the way, like Treebeard, right? Because every time a battle occurs, if it's a battle against Uruk-hai, you got to look at Isengard. And in Isengard, there's a track of Uruk-hai orcs. And as Uruk-hai orcs show up on the board, they add more Uruk-hai to that track. Whenever a battle occurs, you're going to have to roll the battle dice that number of times in order to do the battle. So the more orcs show up for Uruk-hai, the more battles you have to do. Well, Treebeard, when he shows up, he's just whop, wow, wow. And he's nobody else can reduce the Urukai track down, right? You fight the Urukai, but if Treebeard's not there, those Urukai are still there for the next time you got to fight them. But Treebeard shows up, and every time you win an Urukai battle, you're destroying an Urukai. And if you can beat the last Urukai, the Urukai chieftain, that card goes away, and anytime an Urukai battle goes, it's almost like the cure in Pandemic. You can ignore that color. You can now ignore the Urukai track. So it's got all these like narratives. If the Balrog shows up, all of a sudden Gandalf is gone.
Yeah.
You have no access
You
to
shall
Gandalf.
not pass.
Right. He goes to Helm's Deep, and you don't get Gandalf back until Frodo and Sam make it to Helm's Deep. Well, Gandalf, his mechanism is a card deck, and every time you make it to one of the stages, you get to draw. Most of the times when you make it to a stage, you get to draw a Gandalf card, which does something cool and or helps you in a battle. But once Balrog shows up, he's off to Helm's Deep. You can no longer use your Gandalf cards, which you were really kind of relying on to help defeat the Nazgul or to do cool things or win battles. So you can hear it in my voice. It's a very good narrative book.
Yeah.
It's cool because it was great timing. I had, with the baby being born, I had just went through all 3 of the Lord of the Rings movies, and then all 3 of the Hobbit movies, and then this game showed up on sale on Amazon.
Extended editions.
No. See, I told wifey I got to rewatch them all now with the extended.
There you go.
She said,
Well, speaking of an extended playtime, I see the playtime is only listed as 50 minutes, 50, so it plays pretty quick.
It is.
For a Lord of the Rings game?
Yep, and you get stomped pretty quick too.
Okay.
When those Nazgul show up and they start you start balancing like, okay, do we want to do another battle with risk of losing courage? Because every time you lose battle, you lose courage. Or should I just land on this Nazgul space and let a Nazgul come up? But then they kind of like swamped us. It's fast.
Well, as you were talking about the Urukai showing up and coming and stomping on you, I was having flashbacks to Journeys of Middle-earth, like very punishing Lord of the Rings base game
I was
we all
going to
played
ask
together.
you which one do you prefer? Yeah.
Journeys in Middle-earth is super deep. Like that is this is like I don't want to kidify it too much. I don't want to use that. And I've heard people say that in reviews. They call it a family game or a kid's game. I would say this is a one-shot, one-night adventure game. Have fun with it.
But is it replayability?
Yes, because you're not hitting every event card, right? So, as an example, it might take you 3 to 4 rolls to get through one stage. So once you get to the first stage, you get, let's say you get to Rohan, right? Now you got to get to Gondor or to Helm's Deep, right? So you swipe all the event cards off the bottom, things that you may not have seen yet, and then you replace it with the next stage's card. So you're never always going to trigger all the cards, and some of them are face down, so you'll never see what they were. So you don't know what friends you missed, what events you missed. You don't get all the events, but there is replayability, especially if you're a Tolkien fan.
Sorry, Nick. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Please finish your thought there.
Oh, no, that's all. I was just, I remember Journeys of Middle-earth being very punishing, and like there were many moments there was like, we cannot defeat all these guys. We are going to die. And we did, like a bunch.
Yeah. And we did.
But
we
it
died.
sounds like, okay, so this one, I would say, for a co-op game that does play normally shorter games that are co-op feel lighter, right? Or meant to be a little lighter. But so it sounds like it is not a shoe-in to win.
No, it's not. I tried, and I lost because I also played solo. I tried and I lost.
Good.
Have you won the game yet?
No. 2 plays, 2 losses. So I'm looking forward to playing it again.
Okay.
That's why I don't want to call it a family weight game. Because a family weight game, you would have won it.
You would have won, yeah.
Marvel United. You would have won, right? I haven't won yet.
Nice.
Okay.
And I guess the last topic I had, finally got it. It showed up. Found it.
Shelfie stacker.
I guess they restocked it on Miniature Market, and it was down to like $30 or so. Shelfie stacker Black Friday deal. This has been something that's not Captain America, Captain Gamer. Our friend Chris from Austin, Texas, has really been telling me about Shelfie Stacker. It's a Shem Phillips game, so I wanted to support my buddy Shem Phillips there. Picked up Shelfie Stacker. As you can see, it's still in shrink, like many of my other games. Once I get it to the table, we'll have more for you. But that is the last event that has occurred since the last time we've gotten together. Was the receiving of Shelfie Stacker,
Nice.
game designed by Shem Phillips.
Is Shem a personal friend of the show?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I would love
Needs
to
to
have
be.
Shem
Yeah,
as a
that'd
friend
be
of the
awesome.
show.
Yeah,
Call in, Chef.
I'd like to talk to you.
813-618-7099.
Where are they out of? Isn't it a Nordic country that he's from?
I don't know.
Australia, is it?
Australia?
Ireland.
Ireland? Let's just start throwing
randomly
countries.
name these countries.
You know,
Mexico?
somewhere over there.
Not quite. I'm not sure how many Phillips there are. But that's it. That's all I had, and we still haven't got a call in.
When I got, no call Thursday, right? One came back to me though a couple days before Thanksgiving. I don't know if I mentioned this before. Me and the kids, my older two kids, played one of my all-time favorite games.
Chad Stilson says he's a Kiwi. Let me get my correction.
Kiwi. Oh, there
He's
you
a
go.
Kiwi.
Okay.
About near Australia. We're close, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Was Dune. Me and the kids played, and
Imperium?
Dune Imperium. Sorry, Dune Imperium. Yeah, not the old original Doom. But classic moment. We came down to the end. Me, my daughter. She's 18 now. My son just turned 20, and we're playing. This was the
Man, where the hell is time gone,
Yeah,
man?
I know, it's crazy.
You're
old, Mike. You're old.
I'm old.
Rob is so
yeah,
old.
No, we're old. And we got down to the end. It was their first full play of the game. We had played a couple of rounds of the game a couple of times because I just wanted to introduce them to it and show them. And they both liked the idea. They both liked the play. Hey. And so this was our first full play. We get down to the end. If you're not familiar, the game ends either after it's 10 rounds. There's 10 battle cards, so you can go through each of the 10 battles. And then if nobody has crossed the 10-point threshold before that, then it's just whatever the final score is. If anybody goes past 10 points earlier, then that's the final round of the game. There is a little bit of potential in-game scoring. You can collect some intrigue cards during the game that might allow you, if you've done a thing during the game, that you get an extra point or two. But this game, 1 to 2 hours long, we're talking about a total of 10 points being the threshold to win. So you can kind of tell this is a tight game. Getting points is tight. So anyway, at the last round, round 10, we were at 8, 9, and 10 points between the three of us. So all three of us 1 point apart. So we played everything out. We did the last battle. I moved up to 11 points in front of my son. He was at 10, and we're pretty much almost to the cleanup stage. We're all like done. We're like patting each other on the back, and then my son flips over. Oh, I've got this intrigue card. It gives me 2 more points. That puts me 2 past you. So he went to 12 when I was at 11. So I had wrapped up the win.
That's happened to you.
Yeah, yeah. Jim did that to me.
I did it to you.
Oh, you did it to me too.
Yeah.
Well, Jim did it. We tied, and we had to go into the rule book to figure out what the tiebreaker was. The tiebreaker was spice, and Jim had a card that at the end of the game he got to play that gave him 10 bonus spice at the end of the game, which gave him the win. So,
yeah, and then I played you at your turn.
Oh, was it?
And
Yeah.
you were at like 12, and I was at like 10.
Yeah.
And I played the entry card that said like if you have the most spice, you get 3 more points or 2 more points or something.
usually it's
I
1 or
beat-
2, but
one or
yeah.
two, yeah, so it was something like that. I beat you by a point.
Yeah. So that's happened to me multiple times.
3
That's
times.
but this game is so good. It's so tight, and I know Nick and people have other opinions because the game is too tight. But yeah, resources are tight, scores are tight.
Also Teutonica.
Rob, I'm sure it made you angry.
Oh, I was sure I had won
And
this game.
proud.
As I was patting him on the back to Emmy and Arby, I had them all shake hands as we do after games. I was like, everybody shake everybody's hand, and I think we'd already done the handshakes, and then Arby flipped
Really?
the card, and he was like, "Oh, I got this card."
And you're like, I take that handshake back.
Oh yeah, and he knew it. He was sitting on it. He knew it. He smiled when he played it. He was,
It'd been great if you shook your hand by like putting the card in his hand. Shook it at you.
Oh, take a look at that. Oh,
Oh, by the way.
but I was proud. Yeah, I was
Did you
proud.
play with any
Single
expansions?
tier.
Did you play with Ix or?
I did not. Unfortunately, I don't own the expansions, which actually makes me more inclined, I think, to pick up the second version. A lot of people who own the first one said that they're not going to pick up. Well, I forget is it Uprising? Is that what the new one's called?
Dune Imperium.
Yeah.
Uprising.
Dune Imperium Uprising, and people are saying, "Well, if I've got the first and I've got the expansions," even though we talked previously about parts of the expansions can transfer between the two, and you can play some of them with Uprising. But I think I'm more inclined now, since I haven't got all the expansion stuff, maybe to buy the second one also, and then eventually get the expansions and have everything. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
See, I have the expansions, and I'm debating whether I want to buy Uprising. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob's right. So if you have the original with expansions,
yeah.
yeah.
do you really want to buy? I don't own any of them, so Uprising's more up my alley right now. 'Cause
I think so.
I do enjoy the game. I'm just not gonna go back.
What's the benefit? As you buy Uprising, I own
Right.
Imperium,
We
and
can
I
play.
have the
There you go.
expansions,
There you
so
go.
we could literally just
Swap
Swap
them.
the expansion between. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that was a memorable Thanksgiving. I didn't play anything on Thanksgiving. I took a bunch of games over to my mom's place. We were at my mom's for Thanksgiving, and we just didn't get into them. So, yeah.
So I think I'll throw a little bit more out there. I we always go away for like long weekends, right? You go to Orlando, you go to Disney, you go to Universal, whatever. And I always pack a bunch of games and never end up playing them.
Right.
But this past time was fun. I brought like 3 or 4 card games. Can't Stop, Ziggity, a few other ones, and sit in the hotel room and just at the restaurant. My wife, my kid, and I would play them. So it was fun. It was fun, and breaking out the Cranium Ziggity is a little tin box. It's an old game now. I don't know.
yeah.
It's
I've seen
probably
it.
out of print by
Yeah.
now.
I think I got it at Barnes and Noble like 20 years ago.
And it's that or Gloom as far as like the first game that came up with like the transparent card, where you're playing a card and you're playing them on top and you do different scoring and stuff. And
Gloom is the one where you're trying to kill your family, right?
Correct,
Or other
yeah.
people's family, yeah.
Yeah.
Your family.
Yeah.
You're trying to make the saddest family. If you can make your the saddest family.
2004. So Gloom, I think this might beat Gloom.
In Ziggity, the card has 4 areas to look at. They're the 4 corners plus the center of the card. Each one of them is a different mechanic for shedding. You're trying to shed cards from your hand. And I can't remember exactly what the mechanisms were, but the idea behind it is you lay them on each other.
One of them is spelling. One of them is adding up to 11. One of them is completing like a little picture.
Yep.
And then the fourth one is
They're like words.
It's spelling, and it's like musical instruments. You have to play the same musical instrument down.
So you're trying to shed these cards by layering the cards on top of each other to say, look, I completed this word.
Gotcha.
Or I completed this puzzle or
Yeah.
picture.
Like right here is that the musical instrument is the bottom right, and so if the thing showing is a trumpet and it's your turn, you can play trumpets. If it's the card, so in the middle of the card, it tells you what to do. So like in this one, the match the musical instrument, you can then play the trumpet. So like whatever the top card is, you have to do what's in the middle based on what's on the 4 corners.
Got it.
And then whoever sheds first wins.
Yep, and it's like Uno. It's
But it
kind
was
of
so
like
cool
super
when,
simple.
when I first got it because it was the first transparent card game I owned.
Yeah. I was when did Gloom?
When did Gloom come out?
2005, so a year later. So,
Okay.
yeah, so Ziggity's
And I think I picked up Gloom not too long after.
yeah. So it was fun. I played that and a couple other like random card games. I played your laser cut board game. Your Can't Stop.
Can't Stop.
Can't
Oh,
Stop.
yeah. The portable edition I made.
Portable edition that I played.
good.
Works great.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun. It was the first time that we really. I think now going forward, like a lot of times it was like the kid's got to go to bed early, but he's getting older now, so he's staying up later. So we're kind of hanging out in the hotel room. So there's a lot more opportunities for gaming while on vacation. So it was kind of fun. So
Cool.
I played a little bit of war games with my youngest. We played some Down in Flames, also known as re-implemented as Wild Blue Yonder by GMT. It's a straight up tactical back and forth air combat game where you play an element of planes, meaning a leader and a wingman versus his leader and wingman, and you're going to draw from your own deck 110 cards for each deck, and you're going to do things like play cards to try to outmaneuver the other player. So a maneuver would allow me to get advantage on the other element, and you dictate that by the way the planes are facing each other. They start off by facing at each other, so the planes start by facing at each other. If you get advantage on the plane, the opponent has to turn their card sideways to indicate you have advantage on them, which allows you to shoot more. The resource in the game is burst. You spend more burst to attack. So if you have advantage, you get +1 to your burst. If you get another maneuver on them, you actually become tailing. So they have to face their plane away from you with your nose facing their tail. You get 3 bursts. So now you have bursts that you can spend to use to play attack cards. So the resource is burst. The cards that you spend are attack cards. And then the opponent, every time you play a card, gets to respond. They're going to have cards that allow them to do things to respond to your maneuvers. So if I maneuver to try to get advantage on you, Nick, you can respond with a tight turn. Oh, look at that. I throw a tight turn. That cancels your maneuver. But then I get a chance to respond. If I have a tight turn in my hand, I can respond with my tight turn to your tight turn.
Nice.
And then you're like, oh, you know what? Then I'm going to hit you with a barrel roll to try to cancel my tight turn. And I'm like, I don't have any barrel rolls. So you barrel roll away, which cancels my initial
So it's
card.
Nice little dogfight happening
It
there.
feels it.
That's cool.
He and I were playing. He's 12. He and I were playing, and we're like, we had this one almost like a volley in table tennis.
Yeah.
This back and forth. You've got 2 good hands, and you're just able to go back and forth to cancel it out. Like, oh, it's like I got there, and then I got beside you, and then I got behind you, and then but you went up and elevated, and then you hit the scissors, and it really led to some really cool stories of a
What's
game.
the name of this game?
Down in Flames is the system by Dan Viersen, which is one of Dan's favorite games to play. DVG. He does a lot of his videos. Dan, your turn, Dan. There's
Yeah.
a lot of his videos on DVG. The guy, Dan Viersen, made the game. It's called Down in Flames. The copy I'm talking about is the 2017 version called Wild Blue Yonder from GMT. It comes with 210 card decks, one for each player, and enough
really
planes
cool.
to like. It is so simple, 15 minutes. So like we re-racked and re-racked and re-racked.
Sounds really cool.
So now I have a setup over there of what you do is, here's the history part of it, because it's all historical planes. Their performance is based on the plane's actual performance, meaning their speed, their agility, all dictates their performance, which is a number. That number is your maximum hand size. So you might have a Yak, a Soviet Yak, and your performance is 4, right? But I have a Messerschmitt's, E. Messerschmitt's E has a performance of like 9, so I can have a higher hand size. But then your plane's engine dictates its horsepower. Horsepower is how many cards you draw up at the end of the turn. So your Yak might have a horsepower of 1. You can only draw 1 card at the end of the turn. I have 3 horsepower. And then elevation matters because you're going to be you start the game in one of 5 different elevations. Low, very low, low, medium, high, and very high. Medium has no impact on the plane. But if you go into high elevation, you lose 1 horsepower. So your Yak can't even draw a card at high elevation, right? Go to very high, you're -2 to the draw step, to your horsepower step, because you're so high up. There's less oxygen up in higher elevations. Your planes did not fly as well, so you have less ability to draw more cards back. But if you have a turbo plane, like a Messerschmitt's, right? They had turbo, those reductions are reduced by 1. So high doesn't impact the Messerschmitt's. Very high only makes you lose 1. So you can see the history being added to it. The armament, so depending on the plane's armament dictates the burst, how many bursts you start off with. So some planes have no burst to start off with, meaning they have to tail you or get advantage on you in order to be able to use that resource to fire. Some planes had huge armament, so they already start off with some bursts to start with. So they can already start firing at you from neutral position. You have a wingman. Your wingman can come in and help change the position of the other elements that are attacking you. You draw a mini hand for your wingman whenever they act. Whether they take offense or defense, you draw a small mini hand to trigger the wingman. So you've got this back and forth where you're trying to use your wingman up, trying to stop the other guy's wingman from defending him. It is very tactical, very back and forth. That was fast. Down in Flames, Wild Blue Yonder. Good times.
I just added it to my wish list.
I can't find it on Amazon though. No.
You just mentioned DVD.
What's a GMP? So
Is it DVG
Yeah.
or DMT?
DVG.
It's DVD.
Danvers
Danvers
Games.
Makes me miss that, like whatever happened to the crazy guy on like Board Game Breakfast that used to pump these games? You remember that guy? Who used to wear
Oh, the
helmets?
Canadian dude.
No, he's Canadian. I don't know.
He's from Canada. He's Latino. He's Latino,
Oh, really? I thought
but
he
he's
was
from
like a New
Canada.
Yorker, man, because he was
He
so
is.
crazy. Okay.
He's like a New Yorker, but he's out of Canada. I think he's
Okay.
Puerto Rican.
Yes.
He was nuts.
Yeah.
He would do all the voices.
The voices, DVG, they put the helmet on.
He would throw on a wig and act like his wife. And then,
Yep.
maybe that's my stick. Maybe that's where I need to go.
There you go.
That guy like made Board Game Breakfast because his like 30 seconds was like what did I just smoke? Some more of it. Like,
Yeah.
I think him and Rob Oren had a show together at one point.
Did they?
They
Yeah,
would
yeah.
get together and talk war games. I miss that about Dice Tower. They really don't have a war game person anymore.
no,
And the other war game I've been playing is Undaunted.
it could be you.
Yeah.
You know, I don't play a lot of solo games, except for when I do.
All the time.
A lot of solo Undaunted is what I've been playing.
Yeah.
That system, and again, that's
I
David
don't
Thompson.
have the upgrade for that to play solo.
Reinforcements?
Yeah,
It's
I
good.
don't have that one. I got to try that
It's
out.
strong.
Right behind you.
Oh, it is right behind me. Undaunted Reinforcements. Oh, that's so heavy because I got everything in there. Undaunted Reinforcements includes
Sit out.
There you go. Have another one there.
solo.
That when you put the lid on correctly. Yeah.
It's got the solo AI system for both Undaunted Normandy and Undaunted North Africa, and then it adds more units into the game, which include like specialist units. But the solo bot is the only reason to buy Undaunted Reinforcement is for the solo system. Period. That's pretty much it.
Cool.
The solo system is very intelligent. I think David Turtsky. How do you pronounce that?
Turksy.
Yeah, the two Davids looks like on the front.
Yeah.
David Church.
David Thompson did the base game. David Turksky did the AI system for this, and it's very
David,
smart.
And David Digby.
There's a third David?
I'm reading the front.
D.
The solo mode by David Churchky and David Digby.
David.
Yep.
Nice.
So that's what I've been
that,
playing.
That is for Undaunted Normandy and North Africa. And then that's the solo version of it. And then there's
Stalingrad.
which is separate thing, and the solo mode doesn't work with that, right?
That is a full narrative
two-player campaign.
Two-player campaign game. And then Undaunted Battle of Britain, which is up there behind Rob.
It's the plain version.
Yeah.
The plain
Plain
version.
one.
I haven't got to play it yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
No,
right.
that one's on my list. So those are the games that I've been playing.
It's kind of crazy, man. You're the one with the new kid, and I think you've played more games than any of us put together.
Well, listen, my
Paternity
job
leave
has
for the win.
paternity leave.
Yeah,
And it's cool.
Yeah.
So the kid, like, we're up like every 2 hours with this kid. So I've been reading a lot of rules, and then when in the mornings I'll take over and let wifey sleep in. So it'll be me and the boy out in the kitchen area while I play some solo games. By the boy, I mean the 2 week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks now.
The
2 weeks?
Bambino.
Yeah, a couple weeks. Yeah.
Did I say that right?
The Bambino. Yeah,
Bambino.
a noodle.
he's a cool guy. I like him.
You should keep him.
So far, so good.
You should keep him.
Still on the fence, but
No fire station in the future.
Total random
funny.
callback.
Hey, they don't have an age limit on fire stations. Okay, we can drop them off anytime we want. Rob, that boy of yours pulling that card on you.
Oh, yeah.
Go drop
Get
him
rid
off
of
right
him.
now.
There you go.
21. Go
Yeah.
drop him off.
I was looking up. I was looking up Skull Hollow when you brought that out. That looks way cooler. Honestly, I know you talked it up. You were gushing over it,
I like
but I
it a lot.
never saw the game actually.
No.
That looked really cool. If you look that up, there's a Mall Peak as well, which appears
new
to
one.
be
Oh.
basically appears to be the same
Frosthaven?
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a
Yeah, there's a new version of
snowy
Skull
mountain
Hollow.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
I did not know that.
There's like 2 or 3 versions of Skull Hollow.
No, I think they're at 2 right
Two
now.
now? Okay, it's just the
Uh,
Skull Hollow and the Mall Peak. Okay.
Yeah, Gloomhaven and Frosthaven.
But both of them available on Amazon for under $40.
There you go. Yeah, I'd say grab them. They're steal.
Yeah, if you grab one of them, we can swap.
Yeah,
Get
You know,
Mall Peak.
switch it
Yeah.
up.
Now it is only 2-player, right?
It is only 2-player.
Yep.
But I didn't even talk about the mechanisms of that one because it's a hand management card playing game where you play cards to take actions. The actions allow you to move, and that's where the tough part comes in because you're gonna want to move to certain spaces, but you can only move exactly where that card allows you to. Either retreat back or a flank left or a flank right. So but the cards are like Gloomhaven; they're double, a top and a bottom. So you can use it for its top or its bottom. So there's always options, and then you're drawing. You get to draw a lot of cards in this game. There's a hand limit that you start with, but you break that hand limit real fast. You can really fill up your hand, so you can kind of set up a combo and then just start playing. But you're limited in the number of actions. Skull Hollow's a good one.
Definitely more of a top guy. Yeah.
Well, whenever we play Frosthaven, he tries to play 2 tops. And
You keep telling me, can't do that, Rob.
Yeah,
Like my tops.
He'll learn one of these days.
Well, folks,
Yeah, we got 8 of you guys watching. None of you guys have an idea or a topic
wanna
or
call
a
in?
game you played?
Yeah. Well, if not, we
I've,
just keep talking.
Talking.
So, can we change the topic here?
No.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Because I got a couple of
It's
things.
your
Have you
show,
gu-
Mike. It's your show.
Yeah, I guess it is now. Did you guys?
West Side.
Did you finish Bodies, Wayne?
I did not. No, we're gonna get back to it this week because
Don't sleep on that one.
I
man.
not. No, it's on the list. The Doctor Who started. The 60th anniversary edition of Doctor Who started, so that took some precedent. We watched that the other night. But Bodies, we'll get back to Bodies this week. Yeah, I'm getting it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, it's it gets really hectic the last 2 episodes. It starts jumping around like crazy. It's really good.
Good.
Really good.
Kyle says, my wife is watching with me and she wants to know when Carlos sleeps, if he's up every 2 hours with baby. I kind of don't.
Yeah.
I get, and that's like,
Carlos got what, 6?
it's kid number 5.
5.
Kid number
So,
5.
I mean, he hasn't slept in
5, 6,
15
whatever.
I'll
years.
sleep when I'm dead. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Bodies, I haven't started Bodies yet.
I started it twice now, so I get back to it this week because you missed that. I watched it. I watched the first episode started, and my wife said, "Oh, I want to watch this." So we started watching it again.
Got a question
That
in
was
the
at Wayne.
chat. This is
That
a
was a
Wayne
Wayne
question.
question.
Oh hell yeah, I love that game. Bunny Kingdom is on my Christmas wish list.
No Bribe Foul says, "Do y'all like Bunny Kingdom?"
Yes.
I got all the
enjoyed it a lot.
expansions and promos.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's fun. Yeah.
Wasn't it on your Thanksgiving
about that.
wish
on my,
list?
Yeah, it is. It's on my Christmas wish list.
Hey,
hopefully.
No Bribe Foul. Check out last week's episode.
Yep.
From I think it was just a video that was published on a live stream.
Wasn't live. Yeah.
It was our top 5 Thanksgiving games, and you'll see
Or
where
games
Bunny.
we wanted for Christmas.
Games you wanted for
Yeah,
Christmas.
yeah.
Yeah, and Bunny Kingdom's on there. Yeah, I've played it twice in person now, and I don't know, a dozen times on BGA.
Yeah.
I love it because
It's good.
I like it that I know that my kid's gonna like it and my wife will like it. So it's a family game, and it's pick and pass. You get a cards, you pick 2, pass them, pick 2, pass them.
You don't think the scoring will be work?
But I
for
can
the
help
kids?
with that. I can help with
Okay,
that. Right.
As long as they
yeah.
know what to
they
do.
kind of
like-
know, like, you got to
Yeah.
build your. I think that's what I'm saying. Like, it'll be, maybe I pull my punches a little bit, but I think they'll get it pretty quickly.
Right.
They'll grok. My kid knows the game, so it'll be good. I do like the expansions too. I want to get some of those because I did play a couple of the expansions.
I haven't done the
think.
expansions at all
At,
yet. Are they
at
good?
Necronomicon this year, I played a couple
Oh,
of
did they?
expansions. It was fun.
Is it
Some new cards.
New
and some-
cards?
yeah. and
Or
some-
is it a different board?
no, there was no new cards. There was
Okay.
some like cards, the additional cards that got shoveled in. So some new powers that made. I forget what they call them because my brain doesn't work this late at night usually. But you have
As he walked in the room with more beers.
way more beers. That has nothing to do with that. No, I'm just bad with the names of things. But the ones that where you score like X amount if you have around the edge of the board or
Parchments.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
It had a lot of cool new parchment cards. In
Okay.
some of the expansions and some of the promos and stuff. So yeah, no, I really like Bunny Kingdom. It's one of the games where I played a ton on BGA where I haven't soured on it. And so what I found recently is like there are like 2 categories. Games I play on BGA that I really want to own and I'm going to go out and buy. So Bunny Kingdom's one of them. Stone Age is definitely one of them.
Chocolate Factory was one of them.
Was one of them. Bought, yeah. And then there are games that I play on BGA where I play it enough before I buy it where I'm like, I don't need to own that anymore. Nidavellir, right? It's like, it's like I've played it so much on BGA. I'm like, I don't need to own that anymore.
See, it's funny because Bunny Kingdoms firmly fits in that realm for me based on my BGA plays.
You don't want to own it?
Yeah, like I'll play it on BGA anytime you want.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I need to own it.
Yeah. So I think I want to own it because I think it's a game that my family will play.
Sure.
And I'm at the point now where in my game collection, I'm looking for that midweight to light midweight game that I know that the theme and the cuteness or the whatever is going to hit with my family because I have a lot of heavier games that I know that my kid's not ready for. So
Too light, garbage. Get it out of here.
Yeah. 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10.
1 out of 10. Yeah.
1 out of 10.
Right,
No
yeah.
Bribe Foul says, I love drafting as a mechanic in
Yeah.
general. I come from a cooperative card game background. And
Competitive.
every hand competitive. And every hand is that new booster pack
Yeah,
feeling.
it's like
Wow, that's a big. That's big.
That's true.
Yeah, if you think about like the Magic draft tournaments or things like that,
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
that is a good way to look.
I like that No Bribe Foul. That makes me feel like Blood Bowl ish, right, Nick? Are you feeling that, Nick? Are you feeling the Blood Bowl?
That's it.
Oh, he's got his Nick's got his tiki glass from TKA, which was a tournament Nick and I went to.
Yeah.
The Three Kingdoms Challenge, TKC,
TKC.
out of Cocoa Beach, I think is when we got those a few years ago. That was a great trip. We did get a call in. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name, where you calling from.
All right.
Holy my.
Wait, who is it?
Holy man.
Everyone's been waiting.
Hang on. No Bribe, no foul. No Bribe Foul says, I have a Blood Bowl channel of the same name,
Let's
LOL.
go.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, you know what you got?
Yeah.
You got another subscribers,
You got
what you
2
got.
more. You got 2 more.
You got 2 more subscribers, what you got.
Yeah.
On the line, my man Ron Frazier from Hot Atlanta.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, it's been a few weeks. Of course, you guys you did the pre-recorded thing, or not do the call-in show, but did a live show, which is kind of cool. Been busy for a little bit. And first of all, congratulations, Carlos.
Kid number 5.
He's got a hockey line.
Kid number 5.
I wanted to make a baseball team.
Yeah.
Got a ways to go.
Ways to go there.
You know, well, depending on whether your wife wants to play or not, you can field a rugby sevens team.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl
sevens.
sevens.
Blood Bowl sevens, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Rob, look at Rob coming in with that.
Okay. There you go.
What's going on, Ron?
So I heard you guys talking about your board game collections and what they are and like your attitude towards collections. And I've been thinking a whole lot about this lately because as you guys know, I got into 2 trading card games, although I just recently decided to give one of them up.
Oh.
So,
Should we guess?
Spoilers?
Which one?
Lorcana?
Which
hang on, don't answer the question. Don't answer the question. We want to go around the table. Which game do you think trading card games? Let's start with. I think it's the wrestling game.
I was gonna say the wrestling
and
game.
the Lorcana game are the 2 we're talking about, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So around the table, which one do you think he dropped? Mike already answered. He said Lorcana.
I know. I'm only saying that because of how hard it is to get a hold of. But go ahead.
Rob?
Well, I would say the odds on has got to be Lorcana, but I'm going to say for shock value, the wrestling. I don't even know the name of the wrestling game, but just that would be shocking.
If he gave up the wrestling game, I'd be surprised.
I'm with Wayne.
Yeah.
I doubt that he gave up the wrestling game.
I know I have an address where I can buy some.
Road trip.
You don't think he gave up the Marvel game?
Oh, I was going to say Marvel, but I don't think so. I don't think there's any chance of that. Yeah.
Unmatched.
All right. We're all waiting on pins and needles, Ron. Which game did you get rid of?
I gave up Lorcana.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Correct.
But it wasn't because of availability or lack thereof, because I was lucky enough to get my hands on some stuff, and then I have one store that has some stock, and the other store I was playing regularly enough that with the limited stock that they got, I was able to get my hands on some.
Okay.
But as you guys know, there's only so many lifestyle games one person can afford in one lifetime.
Well, with an attitude like that, there's only one.
Quitter.
Some people stop at 4 kids, you know. I mean,
Quitters.
Or some people stop at 2.
Or 1.
or yeah, well, that's a personal choice.
Yeah.
But basically, and I had to make a choice, and quite frankly, I'm having more fun with the community with Super Show than I am with Lorcana, and that's what it boiled down to.
I mean, that game's all about community, though, man. The photos you see that game is just off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, with that being said, and looking at my collection and seeing my friends buying games that I want to play anyway, I slowed down on my purchasing anyway, although you wouldn't say based on my purchases today, because by the way, so I bought Last Light and Can't Stop from Game Nerds today.
You said Last Light?
Wow.
The Roy Kennedy game?
Kennedy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a bunch of retail version. They had it for $57. So I don't know how many copies.
I'm surprised it was in stock.
Yeah, hard to find.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Well, Roy posted about it today. I'm like, you know what? I've been meaning to pick that up. Let me hop on that. And that's what I did. And I saw Can't Stop was on sale for like $17.
Can't Stop. Nice. All right.
Wow.
So yeah. So I picked that up too.
Well, that's Gray Fox, one of Mike's favorite companies, right, Mike? You do a lot of love for Gray Fox.
Let me get on that bandwagon for a little while.
Oh my goodness! Well, I've heard and I understand. Like I'm totally with you, Mike, with the struggles with Gray Fox, but
Thank you, sir.
I don't think I've had the struggles that you've had, but it's but yeah. You know, my collection is small. Like it's still under 100 games, but you know, most of the time that I'm playing board games, I'm playing somebody else's game, and then the games that I'm really into, like Unmatched. You know, I got a friend that has everything for that. Marvel Champions, I have a friend that has everything for that. Although I'm not stopping buying Marvel Champions, I'm still buying everything for that. But you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Like
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm at this point where I'm ready to cull my collection a little bit here, to make some space and what have you. And also, you know, I want games that I can play with my wife and my kids a bit more, and that really struck a nerve with Wayne. When Wayne made that comment, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Like, can't stop. I will be able to play with at least my wife and my oldest daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So, like, the four of us, we play zombie dice, and we play zombie dice together. So, my youngest is 3. She's almost 4. For anybody listening.
And I love the fearlessness of kids. Like when you play games like Can't Stop, like they will not stop.
Yeah. I mean, they don't care.
They don't care.
Push the luck. Let's go. Roll the dice.
They have no concept of fear of like failure.
Or is it they're just full of hope?
Yeah, maybe
it's something.
They haven't been crushed out.
Full of something.
Yeah. No, and so they actually have announced already they're going to do another Kickstarter for Last Light like soon because basically it's sold out already.
Have any of you guys played that?
Yeah, Rob and I played it.
Okay,
It's
fun.
fun.
Dice
It was
Tower,
good.
yeah.
It definitely is 4X feeling in an hour.
Okay.
Like it's not
That's cool.
Very in your face.
It's very in your face, very quick. It's fun.
High confrontation.
Yeah.
Ron, you didn't get it to the table yet, did you?
I haven't even received it yet.
Now, Ron, you
Like,
played
I
it
just
at the
got-
cons, though.
Yeah, your aunt's played it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were at Dice Tower.
I
I think you
played
played it.
I played it at Dice Tower Retreat in Orlando in 2021.
Nice.
Or was it Dice? I either played it there or I played it at Dice Tower East in 22.
Yeah.
No, it had to have been a retreat. I'm
I think
pretty
it was
sure it was a
retreat.
retreat.
Yeah, I think it was retreat.
Yeah.
So I know the new Kickstarter is
so-
going to be some new factions, and
yeah?
I think a replacement for some pieces that weren't done right.
Okay.
And then people can buy the whole game if they want. So yeah. Cool.
Yeah. All right, so I have a question about Apiary. I think you guys have had a chance to play it. Yeah. Have you guys discussed it? 'Cause,
Yeah.
We started the show with it, but yeah, go ahead with the question.
So what did you do? Did you give the beans on it or something?
Well, we deferred because Nick had played it several weeks ago, and Nick called in, and we played it with Nick again tonight. It was his third play, so we skipped the beans because he had giveth in the beans already previously.
Yeah,
so,
he's trying. He's getting there. He's almost there. He's almost-
Beer
I'm trying
is
to help Carlos
flowing.
here. Carlos, likes the giveth, but he gave the beans, so we kind of gave just a quick rundown on it. We didn't get into the details of it.
Okay. All right.
I deferred me giving the beans because I feel like the game has something here, and I don't want to judge it on the first play.
And Wayne and I were both kind of. It was good. It's a solid game.
I think we quickly said on a scale of 1 to 10, like I'm at a 7.
Yeah, 6 to 7.
6 to 7, but I think all of us would say it might be even higher if it wasn't the space theme. If this was actually bees and beehives and
the forest
nature and the
and-
forest, it'd be an 8.
Yeah, it was weird.
Because you would catch me like
do you
watching documentaries on bees. Like,
Yeah.
I love fluff. I love game fluff. I love the
don't.
stuff. I know
Go
Rob
ahead.
doesn't.
Yeah, but you would say if it was nature themed, it'd be better.
I would like to better.
If it
yeah.
was nature themed, I would be going to learn about bees, read a book, right? But
Yeah.
because it's bees in space, I'm so disconnected
Just write
from
it
the
off.
theme.
It's like, who cares? Yeah.
But there's a good game here.
Yeah, there's a solid mechanics.
agree.
Yeah.
What else you got, Ron? I
All
interrupted.
right. That did not sell me on trying to go play this game.
Yeah, we asked
didn't
we asked
sell me
Mike.
on it
Mike's
either,
never played
Ryan.
it. We asked him. Yeah, Mike said it didn't sell him either. So yeah.
I still want to play it, but it didn't sell me on
Okay.
it any more than what I already felt about it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All
But
right.
I'll throw out, like, so BJ from Board Game Gumbo, he was chiming in earlier, Ron, and he said that he really likes it.
Yeah, he
So
thinks it's great.
So I mean, we're maybe a little jaded here in Tampa. But
We played it one time, except for Nick.
yeah, it's one time, and I had
Yeah.
fun with it. I think with, like you said, Nick, like you said, third play is better.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Ron, I was going to say, after my third play, I like it more than after my first. So, I mean, to Carlos's point, there's depth here and there's replayability, and the timing and cadence of the game is interesting, and there's plenty of room to grow there for sure.
Okay. So how many games are we? How many games are we going to give 3 opportunities to make
Yeah.
to make an impression.
I think Wayne made that
It's
point earlier.
Yeah.
He
Like-
asked Carlos how many times he'd pull this off the shelf to play it again and play it again to get to that third or fourth play. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it out there. I'm just gonna put it out there because at the end of the day, I had tacos with Jimmy Stegmeyer on the back porch of Pieces Gaming Cafe.
Yeah.
Did you?
I will give the game a few more tries before
absolutely.
and call it what you want, call it bias, whatever you want. I like the guy. He was super nice to me and my family. Like,
Oh, he's fantastic.
I'm not willing to throw down on the game. What'd you say, Mike?
And here's the other thing, and Stegmeyer aside, any game, if we are scoffing at the thought of playing a game 3 times, what is going on with us that we're paying this kind of money
8,000
for board
games last year?
and
That's what's
we are
going on.
scoffing at I don't know if I
8,000
want to
new
play it
games
a
last year.
third time. How big is your collection that you are complaining about that?
Well, how big is your collection, Mike?
It's pretty big, but I'm not. I definitely feel. I mean, there are games where you play it once, you're just like, this game is crap. I'm never playing this game again. But like you guys said, there's something there. But I just find it so funny. And don't get me wrong, because I do the same thing. But I'm bringing it like as a general question. Like,
yeah, it's good.
Here we are, like. A third time to play this game? I don't know.
That's the problem with the cult of the new and 8,000 games a year.
Well,
I totally agree.
And the growth of our collection. I mean, for me, I admit I have only played it 3 times in 3 weeks because it is the new hotness. When I first got it, I committed to playing it. Right, I got it and I played it within like 2 or 3 days. Then
that's more than what I do.
Then what? That was unusual. That was unusual. Then because it's the new hotness, and I do have geeky cousins, I brought it with me to Maryland, and so my second play was teaching my cousins, the same group that played Hansa. We played this. We played this as well. So that was the second one where I was able to introduce it to a group and play then. And now the third one is tonight, introducing it to you guys again because it's the new Stonemaier game that you kind of want to play. If I didn't have the trip to Maryland and then I didn't have availability to come here, I still would have only played it once. And Mike, then my thing, and I agree, this is a good topic. I have trouble playing a game 3 times in 3 weeks because I have 57 games in shrink on my shelf.
What?
Me beat. You got me beat. Not Carlos. You got me beat, but not
And
Carlos.
so, like
No,
I
not
said,
Carlos.
it is an exception that I played this quickly after getting it. A lot of times I'll get a game and I'm like, oh, I don't have time to play that now. I'll put it on my shelf, and it just stays on the shelf.
Mind
It just stays on the shelf.
So, all right, 57 unplayed games.
I think
I've got
it's-
about 40. Yeah.
I've got probably 30.
I'm 30 to 40.
See, but okay, so here's
Carlos is going to... Here comes his excuse.
Well, no.
After we see all this.
here's how I work. Now, Ron, I don't know if you're dealing with this. With me having like the ADDness, right? Like having the attention deficit issues. Like I know I'm hot on it right now, and I will forget it exists next week.
Yeah.
So, and Rob hates this about me.
Oh, yeah.
I need to play it right now and again and again
Yep.
and again
Yep.
tonight. Robert, we need to get 4 games of this in
Yes.
tonight.
No.
Because I will forget it
No.
exists tomorrow.
I want to play 4 different games tonight.
That's how I get multiple games played of a game. I leave it on the table and I play it multiple times because I know I'll put it away. And Down in Flames, the Wild Blue Yonder, I played it back with Rob back in 2018, I think was the last time I played it. And I played it like 5 times, and I put it away since. And then I'll get an itch for a game to come back, and I'll do it again. Multiple, like 5 games in a row, and then put it away forever. Ron, how do you get more games played of the same game?
I don't have a process, and I mean that's just the problem with this hobby.
True.
Accepted.
So many games out there, and so this is one of the things that got me reassessing how I collect my games. Mm-hmm. Like, and my collection, I'm willing to wager out of all the people on this call is the smallest because I have under 100 games.
Definitely.
Oh, you win.
Yeah, you win.
Like
So-
Carlos has got the biggest, probably.
I think Mike.
Yeah.
You think
No.
Mike does?
Mike's calling.
You been calling?
I've been calling, man. I've got like a whole shelf system over here of games that I'm selling.
Okay, well, I got another room.
Good for you.
I showed the guys
Good for you.
A whole other room.
the other room, the den,
Oh.
which is full of games
Pay
now.
no mind to the man
Carlos, you
behind
take
the
cake,
curtain.
man.
Well,
I think
because
I'm mad.
Nick was coming over, I had to make room for him to sit.
Yeah.
You saying I'm big?
I think I'm like 350-ish,
No,
if
I'm
you don't
not
count
that many.
expansions.
I try not to count.
About 250, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I have to play
Yeah.
it 5 times in a
Oh.
week, so I can
Yeah.
never have to play it again.
I like my friend
No.
Tim is at like 2100, and another guy, the guy I was telling you about, Bill Fogarty, he's at like 3000.
Wow.
2000 games, something like that. He's got.
I got a
got
long
his
ways
shit.
to go.
You guys, can I suggest on the future show you guys should talk about the topic of like the importance of first impressions for games,
It really is.
and like your opinions on that, on how important it is, and what things to consider and all that. I think it would be interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good primer.
And how that's changed. Because think about it, first impressions. If Catan was a game that came out today, people would crap all over it, right? But
Well, it
was-
depends on what level of gamer you are.
Well,
There's some
true,
people
right?
that play it for the first time and they're like, "This is amazing," you
right?
know.
Yeah.
Then they
Yeah.
kickstart every game for a year and then
Easy
realize the
now,
mistakes
easy.
they made.
Hey.
Oh, you feel
Getting a little
attacked?
close to home.
feeling-
you
Feel
know?
attacked?
Too close. Too soon.
Well, Mike, in my small defense, the number of games in shrink for a while there was because I spent 2 years on Kickstarter, and then what happened is the game showed up, and honestly, I wasn't inspired to break it out right away because like, oh, I was excited about this game 3 years
Guilty.
ago.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
and then it goes on the shelf, and it looks nice on the shelf, and that's where it stayed. And that was like 2 years worth of Kickstarters.
Yeah. I'm
That's
down
good.
to 4 unfulfilled
really?
Kickstarters
Oh.
at this point.
Wow.
Only
Like,
4?
Yeah, I've really. They
Good
all
for
came
you,
in.
man.
Yeah, I'm down to like
Yeah.
4 or 5. Yeah.
Funny thing, man. I was looking
I'm-
at my list. I'm sorry, Ron. I don't want to cut you. I agree with you, Ron, that is a topic that we should be talking about because I definitely have some input on
Somebody remind me of that for the next week's
Yeah,
show.
okay.
Primer, first impressions. But go ahead, Mike.
that. No, I was just going to say that I was looking at my Kickstarters for like what hasn't delivered yet. And I have mine kind of separated out like, these are when I moved to Seattle, and this is, in my current address because we've moved 3 times since we moved here. There's still 2 or 3 games that have not delivered that I backed when I lived in Florida.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind that like, okay, now we're getting into year 3 and I still have games that haven't delivered, and it's going to be, I hope that doesn't turn into exactly what Nick said. Was I was so excited when I backed it, and as time has gone on, it's like slowly gotten to the back part of my mind where it's just kind of like, I just wish it would just deliver so we can get over waiting for it
Right.
and be done with
Just put it on
So-
the shelf.
Now, of all
right,
the
put it on the
Kicks-
shelf and let it collect
Yeah.
dust.
Of all the Kickstarters, Mike, Nick, that you've done, are any of them to the point where you know you're never getting it?
Yes. Oh, that I'm never getting it.
I only have one that I know I'm never getting
Because
because they
I
basically
would have
walked away.
I would have said not the Deep Madness one, the other game that guy did. I would have said that one, but I actually got my money refunded on that one.
Oh, okay, nice.
Well, so you know you're not getting the game.
pretty
This is
sure they are.
true.
Pretty safe bet.
But the 2 longest ones that I have right now are the Seventh Continent one. The guys that did
like the
that.
second.
Oh,
edition
yeah.
or whatever.
The second one for that, and I did the what the heck is it? It'll come to me in a moment. But anyway, those are. I know I'm going to get those because one's already being manufactured, and the other one is like extremely close to shipping. But Robinson Crusoe, it was the redo for Robinson Crusoe.
Talk about a game.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
yeah. Talk about a game that splashed like crazy and has just disappeared from the zeitgeist.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that
Seventh
one.
Continent just has disappeared.
Oh, that one too. Yeah, that and the
Yeah.
Robin Crusoe redo. I mean,
Yeah, like-
it's weird that was huge just not too long ago. Now I haven't heard anything about it.
Everyone raged
the
on Seventh Continent and
comments.
then it just disappeared.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I I almost backed that one, and so like
The
because
Robinson Crusoe one?
I think so Robinson Crusoe. Yeah. I'm still getting updates because I want to say I must have backed at like $1 or something.
Uh-huh.
So like I'm still getting updates for the thing, and like the more and more, the longer and longer it lasts, like this whole thing, the happier and happier I am that it's not.
Exactly.
It is going to deliver though, so
Oh.
I can't say that Oh, the other one I'm sorry. The only other one that I'm waiting on because I did single wave shipping is ISS Vanguard.
Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah.
I kind of want to play that one.
Yeah, so I'm waiting on the rest of Trudvang. That was the.
Oh, yeah.
That was.
Oh,
That's
you're
still
going
a
to wait a
thing?
long time on
Yeah,
that one,
yeah.
my friend.
What's interesting is the base box arrived. The base box arrived a while ago. I have the base box game, but yeah, I have no timeline whatsoever on the rest of the content.
But
I remember it was what 2019. We sat in and
Oh yeah.
on
Simon?
the panels that talked about the development
Yep.
of Trudvang.
Simon Expo.
You know
yeah.
why?
That felt so long ago.
Yep.
Because they're probably redoing the entire game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the
Yeah, when Eric left,
initial
they
release was so bad.
yeah when Eric left, they announced that they were basically going back to starting over. Yeah.
And I'm glad you asked me this because I actually was looking at my pledges here and I'm like, I think I've got everything except. Oh wait.
Trudvang.
Well, no. That I remembered. Though that one, in some ways, I've written off. Like I got the base box game, and honestly, if I got the rest of it, that would fall into the category of I'm not going to play this anytime soon because it's like that's like another Frosthaven commitment to me.
Yeah.
It's like this big
Yeah.
thing. But Adventures in Neverland.
I remember that one.
From-
Wow, damn.
From May of 2020.
Wow.
So Matt,
That's
that funded
right
and
in
that,
the
and
peak
that
of the
one,
pandemic. That's done.
That one, no, I will say that one had an update late October of this
Okay,
year.
nice.
So like the Black Box Adventures is the company. They didn't go away, but and I feel like the last production update that was like an Essence spiel. They were like post spiel production update. They still intend to deliver.
Kind of like a Richard Pryor. We're not dead yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, basically an update saying we attended Essen and we promised the game exists. But yeah, I mean that funded more than 3 years ago.
Yeah, I actually missed an opportunity at Dice Tower East. If y'all remember that there was a woman who asked to borrow my copy of First Rat for a
Yes,
while.
I
yeah,
remember.
I remember that.
The guy she was playing with is the designer, owner, whatever of the one Kickstarter I have. That's just he's walked away from it. He took the money and ran.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yeah, like after the fact, like someone was like, "Oh, this girl, that's her whatever husband, boyfriend, whatever. That's the guy who's walked away from
Who's
this
got
game."
your money, Wayne, and
Yeah,
you let
he's
him
got my
borrow
money.
your
Look at
game.
that.
Yeah,
First
he
Rat,
could
like,
have ran off with First Rat.
I told him that you could borrow you
Wow.
could borrow this. You give me a refund of my damn Kickstarter.
Ron, my
That's amazing
man.
to me that people in that situation would actually show up to events like that.
Yeah, he's actually a
nuts.
Twitch streamer and everything. Like he just
No shame.
no shame. Just ignores the fact that like he walked away from this game. So.
All right. Well, I guess I've been on this phone long enough. I feel like I've participated. As part of the
You're the
panel.
only caller
so,
tonight.
so Ron, I got to ask because I'm greedy. What did you do with your Lorcana cards?
I was going to ask.
Wayne is interested.
Did you sell them for fat roll?
Fat cash or what?
No, I still have. So I have two of the starters unaltered, and the amber amethyst deck I was actually building up as a princess villain deck. So it's gotten better, and then I have a red gold deck that I built. I'm pretty sure it's trash, but I initially intended to collect it as a casual game. But even now, it's a decent game. But it's sitting on the shelf, Wayne. It's what it's doing.
There you go. Wayne's going to be making an offer on it right now.
Wayne wants to know how much you want for it.
Well, no, I mean, because he actually he can make way more money than I'd be willing to pay for it if he just sold them the cards individually. But I actually have a pre-order in with Amazon for one each of the 3 starter decks from the first series. It's like going to ship in early January, so I'll get 3 decks. or 3 starter sets in early January. But
Maybe.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
you can teach us because I've been looking forward to
Yeah, I
learn that
want to
one.
try it and stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean, like Ron, if you're not looking to make a profit, I could give you an offer on them that's fair, but you'd probably make way more money just selling them like elsewhere.
Well, and I was going to say once again that Level Up Games in Toulouse, which is 10 minutes away from my house, has starter sets. Like, if you really want them, you could just like Venmo or Cash Out me the cash, and I can mail you starter sets, and you could probably have them in like a week and a half.
I'd be faster than my Amazon order. Yeah, I'll message you.
And it actually might make it to you, unlike your
Unlike
Draftosaurus.
Amazon,
Yeah, instead of the Amazon order,
yeah. Well, this Garrett, like, so Ravensburger's had troubles, right? So I don't know if you heard, like they tried to tried to do a sale on their website
Okay.
of the first set again, and then they got a DDS attack, denial of service attack, right? It wiped out all the orders. So they had it like all the people who put in orders, they got to go. All the orders are canceled.
Start over.
Maybe not. We're gonna go through Amazon this time, and Amazon had an order where it was like guaranteed. You get this, and this is the price, and if it's cheaper between now and January, you get it at the cheaper price. So like, Amazon handled it better. But dude, Ravensburger.
They have dropped the ball on this, man.
They're just not big enough a company to handle this
And
demand.
that's the answer right there.
Yeah.
It's not. I can't say that they dropped the ball. It's
they
just
just
I don't think they could have ever carried the ball.
Yeah, they're
You
overwhelmed.
can't, you can't tell me that Disney doesn't have enough pull that they could have bought a company to print more cards than what they've done right now.
Yes.
But they thought they did that
It's like,
by hiring Cosmos
like,
or
Ravensburger. Ravensburger's like that little kid that you throw the regular sized football at. Like, you're playing catch with him. He's got the little football. He's catching it, and then you go, wham!
right in the face.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, I think basically the execs that were in charge of making these decisions had little to no clue about
I don't
how
get it.
the industry works.
They should have. Go ahead, Wayne. I'm
No, I
sorry.
was gonna say, people just underestimate Disney. Like the demand, like the fanaticism of
how
Disney
can you,
collectors.
though?
The
How-
They
collectors.
should have
it's-
known
I
at
don't know.
at that
Yeah.
first D23 where they debuted this Lorcana stuff. People were going freaking crazy over.
But at that
this
point,
stuff.
the contracts were already signed. Like the
Doesn't
Ravensburger
matter.
contracts were
Disney
already
should have
I'm
signed.
gonna say print another 50 million copies,
Right.
please.
That's exactly what they should have done. Because
But I don't have enough friends.
Can you
You mean tell
imagine
me
how
someone's
much
not
they
gonna-
would have sold if Disney was selling this in their parks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of Ravensburger underestimating their ability to handle this and Disney being
Overestimated.
Robbing it. Yeah. Oh, Clueless is how
Yeah.
busy this would be. Yeah. And think about it, like I'm Ravensburger. Like I know, oh my God, after D23 or after Gen Con, even after Gen Con, holy cow, we dropped the ball here. I am calling like JP Morgan Chase going, hey, loan me $1 million because I'm going to print 10 million packs of this thing and look at how quickly it sold out. Loan me that $1 million at 3% interest. And I'm like, you could quickly get financing to then go to Panda or whoever your production says, I don't care what you need to do. How many more
People you need
children you need to get in China?
How many Uyghurs?
Print as many copies of this game as you can. Like, it's not that complicated. Like, you just ramp up production. It's a cash cow, and they literally are missing the boat. Like, they could have sold. The fact that I can't walk into Target right now and it's not sitting on the
I've
shelf.
never seen it. I've never seen a
Yeah.
copy in the
Yeah.
I was
wild.
at the
the
Disney
time.
parks like a month after the release, and I was like, I was sure I was going to see it at the Disney parks. I went to 2 different Disney parks and did not see a copy
The
even
fact that I
anywhere.
could walk into any Target,
Yeah.
Walmart, and get Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic, Topps baseball cards left and right, but I can't find a copy of Lorcana.
And even how they dropped the ball with the local game stores.
Oh my God, yeah.
There are
that's
some
the point.
local
So, yeah,
game stores
no
here.
supply.
They don't want it anymore because
No,
of how
they
bad
got
they
burned.
screwed up.
Yeah.
They got
Oh,
burned.
dude, so
my goodness.
there's a comic
Yeah.
book store in Riverview that's been around forever. It's a comics club, and I talked to my friend who knows the owner, and I know the owner as well. And he had ordered cases, right? Like he expected, he knew the demand was gonna be big. He's like, I want as much as I can order. Like a week before the release date, they call him and say, you're not getting any, 0. He's like, what do you mean 0? Oh, well, you didn't sign up to be a local Play Store, or you didn't sign up to be this or that. And they gave him all these excuses. And he's like, wait. Where was all of these stipulations when I told you a year ago I want 100 cases of this game or whatever it is, this massive order? And he's like, all right, you know what? Cancel it, and I'm never ordering it again. Like, screw you. Like, because I've literally pre-sold this to all of my loyal customers. I have people who come in that have comic book subscriptions with me for years, and I've pre-sold them this deck, and now I got to tell them, you're not getting it. Like, I can't do that. That's my customer base. You just screwed my entire customer base. And that's just one store. Imagine thousands of game stores across the country having to tell their people that pre-sold, pre-bought, I got to refund your money now. Like, you bought this a month ago or 6 months ago or a year ago, and now I got to give you all your money back. That's messed up.
Nope.
Crazy.
Yep.
That's why you should have got into Super Showdown.
There you go.
Hell
Ron
yeah.
will tell you that.
I'll tell you that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ron, any closing?
Hey, Ron,
right,
you close us out, Ron.
words of wisdom
You
here?
close out
Yeah.
the show. You tell the people good night, and we'll throw the closing
banner up there, or closing
outro music, and you let the folks know at home where to find more about you, and close us out.
All right, so Ron Talks Tabletop. You can find me on Instagram and YouTube there, Facebook, and I guess Threads now, because that other website that it's imitating is a dumpster fire.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
Check me out on MySpace.
It's probably worth more than the Twitter formerly known as X.
This is the Beans and Dice podcast, a call-in show, a show about
How we
How we
game.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Ron.
Beans
Thanks, Ron.
and Dice Podcast.
Have a great night, man.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Good night, Ron.
He gone.
Let the cat up.
Shut
Jeez,
cat
that
up.
cat tonight.